Chapter 308 The Divine Dragon Will Eventually Bloodbath. An ant can turn the sky. Zhou looked at him quietly, and suppressed the restlessness of the Dragon Slayer King's will in his mind. He suddenly smiled. So what? He said calmly. The extreme venerable lord was stunned. I know that in the eyes of you high-level races, we life forms of the normal race might really be like ants. But what does that mean to me? Whether we are a low-level race or a high-level race like you, our fate has been destined ever since we stepped onto this battlefield. We have to kill each other on this Lord battlefield until the final Lord of all races is decided. This is the only choice between you, me, and the other lords. We have no way out. You, extreme venerable lord, are the same as me. Zhou said calmly. The same? Do you think you can fight for the Lord of all races? The extreme venerable lord smiled disdainfully. Then do you think it's possible for you? Zhou asked. The extreme venerable lord's expression darkened, and he stopped talking. He had fought the top 3 lords of all races. However, it was precisely because they had fought before that he understood how terrifying they were. He looked at Zhou while using the extremely terrifying dragon might of the extreme dragon race, instantly pressed down on him. Zhou looked at it calmly, as if he did not feel anything. Look, you and I are the same. Still, the divine dragon will eventually bleed. Even ants can overturn the sky. If you can take the position of Lord of all races, I, the Lord of the Blazing Sun, can also sit on it. Lastly, thank you for your reminder. Leave. Lord Father is not my match. You won't be either. Zhou said. The extreme venerable lord looked at him quietly. A moment later, the extreme venerable city behind him gradually disappeared from the Lord battlefield along with him. Extreme Dragon Race Lord. Extreme Venerable Lord has surrendered. You have defeated the Extreme Dragon Race Lord. Extreme Venerable Lord, Mythical Tier Advanced Grade Lord. You have won this ranking competition. Congratulations, you have obtained 100,000 battlefield points. Congratulations, you have obtained 20 ranking points. Ranking system notification. Your current ranking score is 65. Please continue ranking and obtain a ranking score to increase your ranking. You need to participate in at least one ranking competition every 3 days. Otherwise, your rank will -1. Your battlefield shop has been updated. Zhou's expression was calm. He did not feel happy. He might have easily won this ranking, but the other party's words did cause a huge wave in his heart. Over the past few days, he had continuously won, and his rank had increased. Even though he did not show anything on the surface, he still felt a little proud. This was also inevitable. However, the words of the extreme venerable lord made the pride in his heart disappear. He valued these top lords again. A temporary lead is nothing. To be able to lead to the end and become the lord of all races is a true winner. I still have to continue becoming stronger. Even if these top lords of all races completely master the civilization power of their race in the later stages, I have to be able to resist them or even surpass them. Zhou thought to himself. After that, he left the Lord battlefield with the soldiers and looked at his ranking. After the extreme venerable lord surrendered without fighting, his ranking increased again to 6th place. Zhou did not hesitate and continued to rank. Taking advantage of the ranking period, Zhou opened the battlefield shop and spent 300,000 battlefield points to exchange for the Mythical Tier Master Servant Territory contract and the Index of All Races, Book 10. At this point, he had exchanged for all the most valuable treasures in the battlefield shop. The remaining goods were nothing more than some territory rebirth tokens and resurrection tokens. He could slowly exchange for these things in the future. After that, he took out the Index of All Races from the 1st to the 10th volume. A text notification appeared. Do you want to fuse it into the complete Index of All Races copy? Copy. Zhou pondered. When he first obtained the Index of All Races copy, he remembered that it said that only the first lord to collect all 10 volumes could obtain the complete mythical tier treasure, the Index of All Races. From the looks of it, the original should have been redeemed. The first lord to collect all 10 volumes should be the original spirit race's true lord, who has occupied the first place in the lord battlefield of all races. Zhou shook his head. Even though he felt that it was a pity, he could not change anything. That party was the first to collect the complete 10 volumes after all. He stopped thinking and chose to fuse the 10 volumes. The next second, the 10 volumes of the Index of All Races in front of Zhou fused together, forming a thick black gold book. Zhou looked over. Treasure name: Index of All Races copy. Treasure grade: Mythical tier. Treasure effect: a copy of the Mythical tier treasure, Index of All Races. It records the detailed information of the races that are born and destroyed at all times in the myriad worlds. It can be used to search for the race information you want to know. Treasure description: it was copied from the Index of All Races by the Supreme Will. There is only slightly less detailed information about the race than before. Zhou nodded slightly. Even though it was only a copy, it was at least a mythical tier treasure. Even though there might be less detailed information about the race recorded than the original, it was not unacceptable. He put away the Index of All Races copy. At the same time, the news of the Lord of the Blazing Sun, increasing his ranking on the Lord Battlefield of All Races, spread on the World Channel again. Other than lords who were hostile to the Blazing Sun, most of the lords were excited and expectant. They really wanted to know what rank the Lord of the Blazing Sun from the Cerulean planet would eventually advance to. They did not dare to think about getting first place. But what about the top 3? All the lords were guessing. Someone even specially placed a bet for this. The World Channel became quite lively because of this matter. 2 hours later, Zhou looked at the ranking that had yet to begin, and could not help but feel speechless. What were the other top lords of all races doing? He still wanted to encounter the top 3 lords. Zhou looked at the sky. It was almost noon. Seeing this, he gave up on continuing to rank. Let's queue tomorrow. In any case, it was only the 5th day today. There were still 5 days before the end of the Myriad Races Lord Battlefield event. It was enough for him to continue increasing his ranking. Then, Zhou came to the shelter of the Goddess of Life, and converted the Holy Spirit tier scarlet crystals in his hand into a Holy Spirit tier Faith Divine crystal. Then, he took the Faith Divine crystal and left Blazing Sun City with all his soldiers. Then, he headed straight to the original territory of Thorn Dune. The territory where the original Thorn Dune was. It was now a part of the Blazing Sun Desert. After Zhou brought his men here, he immediately arrived at the God of Death Temple. In front of the statue of the God of Death, Thanatos, Zhou placed the Holy Spirit tier Faith Divine crystal on the altar of the God of Death. Lord God of Death, I abided by our agreement and brought this Holy Spirit tier Faith Divine crystal. Lord God of Death, please accept it, he said respectfully. Chapter 309 The Reward of the God of Death. The temple was still quiet after a long time. Zhou's expression did not change as he continued to wait quietly. At this moment, a deep and familiar voice sounded in Zhou's mind. You're not bad. 2 Holy Spirit tier Faith Divine crystals, and the faith inside is actually so pure. It's been a long time since I've seen a Holy Spirit tier Faith Divine crystal of this quality. The God of Death, Thanatos, sighed. Greetings, God of Death. I'm happy as long as the God of Death is satisfied with the Faith Divine crystal I offer. Zhou said respectfully. Very good. What reward do you want? The God of Death, Thanatos, said. Zhou's expression did not change. He was a little surprised. Previously, when he offered the Holy Spirit tier Faith Divine crystal, the other party had no intention of communicating at all. He threw down the death immunity scroll and left. He did not expect him to be willing to talk to him this time. It seemed that he had indeed satisfied the other party by giving him 2 Holy Spirit tier Faith Divine crystals in a row. I would like to have another death immunity scroll. He stopped thinking about it and said his needs. Easy. The God of Death, Thanatos, said lightly. The next second, a black scroll with Thanatos' figure engraved on the surface appeared on the altar out of thin air. It was the death immunity scroll. I'll give you another small gift. After the God of Death, Thanatos, finished speaking, 2 points of black light lit up in the eyes of the God of Death statue. Then they turned into 2 black lights and shot out, shooting straight at Soul Reaper Maris, who was outside the temple. Maris stiffened. However, he did not dare to act rashly. As time passed, the aura on his body became even more mysterious and dignified. Moreover, the god of death's scythe in his arms also emitted a pitch-black luster. A moment later, Maris' aura gradually dissipated, and the light emitted by the god of death's scythe in his arms was also retracted. "Thank you for your gift, Your Excellency." He suddenly knelt down to the god of death, Thanatos. "Thank your lord." The god of death, Thanatos, said calmly. Then he said to Zhou, "A small lord under the supreme will. The fact that you have a member of my Soul Reaper army among your subordinates means that there's still some fate between us. Are you willing to believe in me and become the candidate holy son of my god of death church? As long as you're willing to become a candidate holy son of my god of death church, you can mobilize the resources of countless god of death churches in the high continent and even the myriad worlds. When the time comes, you will have a chance to really compete with the top lords of all races. You might even be able to fight for the position of the lord of all races. You're only a human lord after all. The foundation of the race civilization is still too shallow compared to those top lords of all races. I'm sure you've felt the difference during this period of time. If you're willing to believe in me and become my candidate holy son, you don't have to worry about foundation." The god of death, Thanatos, said. He did not expect the god of death to make such a condition. He only wanted to come over in exchange for a death immunity scroll, okay? However, it had to be said that the conditions offered by this master god tier made him quite tempted. In terms of the foundation of the race civilization, he was indeed inferior to those races that had developed for tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, or even longer. These top-notch races could probably carry out interstellar wars in the starry sky. Before he came to the high continent, the cerulean planet could not even emigrate to a planet in outer space to live. The difference was ordinary. He was silent for a long time before finally saying, "Otherwise, it will be a false belief. That will be an insult to Your Excellency. Your Excellency, please let me consider it seriously." "Okay," Zhou said. All the gifts given by fate had been priced early on. He did not believe that such a good thing would come without a price. Moreover, Zhou did not want to believe in any god spirits for the time being. Even he wanted to be a god spirit. Therefore, it was better not to become a believer in this excellency. Fine. Let's not talk about faith for the time being. Remember to send more fanatic believer or god tier faith divine crystals in the future. The god of death, Thanatos, said. Yes. Zhou nodded seriously. He could not take out the Holy Spirit tier faith divine crystal again. However, he still had a lot of fanatic believer faith divine crystals. However, he had just given him a Holy Spirit tier faith divine crystal. If he were to turn around and say that he still had the fanatic believer's faith divine crystal, it seemed like he was being secretive. He would give it to him the next time he needed it. The god of death, Thanatos, nodded and did not say anything else. A moment later, after confirming that the will of the god of death, Thanatos, had left, Zhou walked forward and put away the death immunity scroll on the altar. Then, he bowed to the god of death and walked out of the temple to Maris. Greetings, my lord. Maris said respectfully. Does it feel different? Zhou asked. His Excellency the God of Death has upgraded my potential from yellow gold tier advanced grade to diamond tier advanced grade. There's nothing else, Maris said. Zhou's eyes lit up. Being upgraded to diamond tier advanced grade did not seem to be a lot since many of the experts under him had reached the extraordinary tier, epic tier, and even the legendary tier and mythical tier after all. However, Maris was a divine kingdom soldier type, Soul Reaper. As long as he reached a certain level of strength, he could instantly kill an expert of a certain level. This was because Maris had such a soul-killing method. Therefore, its efficiency in killing enemies was astonishingly high on the battlefield. Zhou had long taken the extraordinary tier potential advancement potion, wanting to try to increase the other party's potential level. In the end, it reminded him that Maris' soul and soldier type were special. The potential advancement potion could not increase his potential at all. For this reason, Zhou even specially asked the Supreme Will what to do. But the Supreme Will did not give him any hints. He did not expect that coming over to give the God of Death a Holy Spirit Tier Faith Divine Crystal would actually give him such a pleasant surprise. Zhou acknowledged. He was quite satisfied with his gains this time. He did not stay any longer. He boarded the Black Ghost with the 2 armies and left. After they left, in the God of Death Temple, the Holy Spirit Tier Faith Divine Crystal that Zhou had just handed over appeared out of thin air in front of the God of Death statue. Trist's aura. I miss it. The God of Death Thanatos sighed. Then, the temple fell silent again. After Zhou led the 2 armies onto the Black Ghost, he did not go to Dark Night Town immediately. Instead, he began to conquer the non-kingdom territories around the Blazing Sun Desert. These non-kingdom regional territories were controlled by the Scarlet Lord. Among them were 7 Black Iron Tier regional territories, 5 Green Bronze Tier regional territories, and 2 White Silver Tier regional territories. There was not a single regional territory above Yellow Gold Tier. With the help of the Black Ghost, Zhou and the others quickly marched proudly through the regional territories of the various non-kingdoms. In the end, they only used less than 3 hours to capture and occupy all 14 regional territories. At this point, there were no other ownerless territories around Zhou's territory other than the regional territories controlled by the kingdom. After that, he did not stay any longer and headed straight for Dark Night Town. Chapter 310 Taking Back Dark Night Town in the Black Ghost. Zhou looked at the map in his hand. This map was drawn by Wu Tu's Heavenly Army. It recorded in detail the distribution of all the regions and territories in the entire Taiyan Kingdom. Zhou's gaze landed on the territory near Dark Night Town. There were 5 regional territories closest to Dark Night Town. Other than the White Platinum Tier Scarlet Lord's territory East Demon City, and the Yellow Gold Tier Scarlet Lord's territory Red Wasp Town, that Ruoji mentioned. There were also 2 Green Bronze Tier Scarlet Lord territories, and 1 White Silver Tier Scarlet Lord territory. Let's deal with these 3 Bronze and Silver Scarlet Lord territories first. It saves them from sending reinforcements when they attack East Demon City and Red Wasp Town. Zhou thought. Soon, they arrived at the old site of Dark Night Town. In the Black Ghost, Zhou, Bai Yun, Wuxia, and the other higher-ups of the army were looking at the virtual screen in front of them. The virtual screen displayed the scene of Dark Night Town. Dark Night Town, which had already been captured and destroyed by them, actually gathered a large number of fog monsters again. These fog monsters were mainly divided into 2 types. One was a black-gray mantis-shaped monster. The other was a huge scarlet bee-shaped monster. In addition, there were some fog monsters of other races that were being driven by them to build city walls. It looked like it was about to be completed. It's the sickle fog mantis of the East Demon City and the red-eyed blood wasps of Red Wasp Town. Are they taking over Dark Night Town? Ruoji, the current leader of the monster army, said in surprise when he saw the 2 fog monsters. It suddenly thought of something and immediately understood. Then it nodded thoughtfully. That's true. Dark Night Town is a Yellow Gold Tier regional territory after all. The district is vast. The Scarlet Lords of East Demon City and Red Wasp Town will definitely not leave it alone. If we can use this place, we can produce a large number of fog monsters every day to increase their strength after all. Zhou and the others listened to him and agreed. As a lord under the Crimson Overlord, the Scarlet Lord naturally had needs for the territory. They naturally would not leave such a huge piece of fat meat like Dark Night Town alone, even though the regional token here had been taken away. However, Zhou had not sent an army to guard this place after all, so they naturally thought that this place could be used. Zhou's gaze landed on the virtual screen again. He narrowed his eyes slightly, which seemed a little cold. He had indeed not sent troops to guard this place yesterday, but since he had taken the regional token here, he had already treated this place as his territory. He was naturally not too happy to see this place being occupied. Wenya. Lower the spaceship. Bai Yin Elder Wu Feng Luo. Destroy these enemies who occupy Dark Night Town. Not everything can touch my territory, Zhou said calmly. Yes, my lord, everyone said in unison. Their expressions did not change at all. There were only about 20,000 fog monsters in the city of Dark Night Town after all, and their strength was very ordinary. On their side, they had an army of 100,000 and many experts. It was naturally easy to defeat these fog monsters and take back Dark Night Town. Don't destroy too many buildings in Dark Night Town. I'm going to occupy this place. Dark Night Town will be our city in the future. Our subjects will have to live here in the future. Jojo thought for a moment and said, if it was yesterday, he might not have made this decision. At that time, he did not feel that he had the strength to occupy a Scarlet Lord city for a long time after all. However, after witnessing the power of the greedy wolf avatar in the Lord battlefield this morning, Jojo's thoughts changed. With this greedy wolf avatar, with extraordinary tier intermediate grade strength, he already had the strength to fight an extraordinary tier Scarlet hero head-on. The strongest force in the Taiyan Kingdom was only an extraordinary tier Scarlet hero. In addition, the Taiyan Kingdom and the Aurora Kingdom were fighting on the main battlefield, so they could not send too many forces to deal with him. Under such circumstances, he was already invincible as long as the Taiyan Kingdom did not have any overly powerful trump cards. Since that was the case, he could completely occupy Dark Night Town. Not only could he occupy Dark Night Town, even Red Wasp Town, which was also the territory of the Yellow Gold tier Scarlet Lord, or even the even more prosperous White Platinum tier Scarlet Lord's territory, East Demon City. He could also occupy it. It was time to show his fangs to the true national forces on this continent. Jojo thought. His emotions surged. Previously, he had always been very cautious about the Taiyan Kingdom. This was a kingdom-level faction that could suppress the Aurora Kingdom after all. Now, he could finally let go of himself a little. Don't be arrogant. Even though we can officially attack the Taiyan Kingdom. But we have to be careful. Who knows what trump cards this Taiyan Kingdom has? Jojo felt his thoughts were a little inflated, and immediately reminded himself silently. Yes, my lord. On the other side, when everyone heard Jojo's order, they did not say anything, and carried out the order, even though they were a little surprised. Bai Yun and the other human generals arranged for the soldiers to alight from the spaceship with anticipation in their eyes. Even though Blazing Sun City and Sand Gold City were also developing quite well, and had all kinds of buildings, it had only developed for a short period of time, and was far inferior to Dark Night Town in terms of the scale of the city. If they completely occupied Dark Night Town, their power and foundation would definitely increase greatly. Not to mention anything else. At the very least, he could immigrate a portion of his increasing subjects in the territory here. Soon, the Black Ghost landed on the ground. Right on the heels of that, Bai Yun, Wuxia and Feng Luo, and the others led a 100,000-strong army and surged out. Right on the heels of that, Wuxia activated the Greedy Wolf Howling Moon Array, and summoned his Greedy Wolf avatar to attack Dark Night Town. Nazario and Auguste flew above both sides of the Greedy Wolf avatar. Maris followed the Greedy Wolf avatar towards Dark Night Town. The defenders of Dark Night Town only realized that an enemy was attacking when the Greedy Wolf avatar, which was more than 400 meters tall, appeared and advanced towards Dark Night Town. They immediately put down their work and gathered together, preparing to rely on the newly built city wall to resist the attack of the Greedy Wolf avatar. When the Greedy Wolf avatar saw this scene, disdain flashed across its eyes. Among the 20,000 fog monsters, the strongest was only a White Platinum tier advanced grade Sickle Fog Mantis, and a White Platinum tier elementary grade Red-Eyed Blood Wasp. The other fog monsters were all below the Yellow Gold tier. With this strength, they could easily capture this place without activating the Greedy Wolf Howling Moon Array, if not for the fact that they wanted to maintain 0 casualties. It opened its bloody mouth, and a blood-red army extermination light ball condensed in it. The next second, this army extermination light ball instantly shot out, and rushed to the city wall of Dark Night Town in the blink of an eye, instantly obliterating more than 1,000 fog monsters. Moreover, under the precise control of the Greedy Wolf avatar, it did not even destroy the city wall under their feet. Soul Reaper Maris also left the body, and flew out with the God of Death scythe in his hand. Soon, he arrived at Dark Night Town, and began to silently harvest the lives of the fog monsters guarding Dark Knight Town. Maris, whose potential had increased greatly, had already reached the yellow gold tier intermediate grade. He could easily deal with any fog monster below the yellow gold tier intermediate grade. On the city wall of Dark Knight Town, in the blink of an eye, a large number of fog monsters fell to the ground lifelessly, under the terrified gazes of the other fog monsters. Their souls had already been taken away by Maris, leaving behind only a soulless corpse. Nazario and Auguste also began to release their dragon might. Then, they began to slaughter the fog with their own methods. They were completely destroyed in less than 15 minutes. Bai Yin led the army, and quickly took control of the city again. Then she brought good news to Zhou. My lord, Dark Knight Town was installed with a yellow gold tier advanced grade territory token by the fog monster garrison. Now, all the buildings in Dark Knight Town have been restored to their original functions. Bai Yin reported excitedly. The smile on Zhou's face became even more obvious. What a good person. Zhou sighed. Not only was it to build the city wall, but it was also to give a yellow gold tier territory token to revive Dark Knight Town. Where else could he find such a good person? Chapter 311 Specialty. Blood Honey. Zhou walked into Dark Knight Town and realized that the buildings here had indeed restored the architectural effect of their original blueprint buildings. A smile appeared on his face. There were at least tens of thousands of buildings in Dark Knight Town. There was no lack of silver and yellow gold tier life profession buildings. For example, a blacksmith shop, tailor shop, jewelry workshop. So many lifestyle structures could accommodate a large number of lifestyle professionals subjects to live and develop here, allowing them to show their strengths. Originally, the number of life professional buildings in his territory could no longer satisfy the needs of all the lifestyle professional subjects because of the increasing number of lifestyle professional subjects. Now that Dark Knight Town has returned to normal, this problem could be resolved. Even yellow gold tier Dark Knight Town is so good. I wonder what the white platinum tier East Demon City looks like. Zhou was filled with anticipation. At this moment, he thought of the 2 yellow gold tier territory tokens needed to upgrade his territory. Then he'll obtain the 2 yellow gold tier territory tokens from the yellow gold tier territory of a non-kingdom. Otherwise, it would be a pity to give up 2 cities for 2 yellow gold tier territory tokens. Zhou pondered. Now he already had the strength to protect the territory. Naturally, he did not have to give up on this place like before. Of course, there was another important reason. Regional territories needed cities to guard them. This way, he could also mine the resources of the territory through the city. For example, basic resources, meat resources, water sources. There were even some rare minerals and treasures. Precious mineral resources like adamantine, mithril, and elemental gems. They could all be mined from regional territories. The higher the level of the regional territory, the higher the probability of various resources and treasures being born. Otherwise, they occupied regional territories, but did not use them by building cities. That would be a waste. It was no different from not occupying it. He didn't think too much about it. There were specialties in every field. He would leave this matter to Elder Zheng when he returned. He did not need to waste his brain. Then, he came to the Lord Manor, and chose to occupy Dark Knight Town in front of the territory stone tablet. This was because there was a new territory token inside. Therefore, he needed to occupy it again. After that, Zhou did not stay any longer. He led the army onto the Black Ghost again, and conquered the other territories of the Taiyan Kingdom. He planned to occupy the 2 green bronze tier Scarlet Lord territories, and the white silver tier Scarlet Lord territory first. As for East Demon City and Red Wasp Town, he planned to save them for the final solution. More than an hour later, the 3 regional territories were all conquered by Zhou's 2 armies. Then, he planned to head to the Red Wasp Town closest to his current location. At this moment, a scout suddenly came to report that he had seen a team of about 500 Wasp Empress soldiers rushing towards them. They were not far away now. It seems that the Red Wasp Town already knows about the Lord. This group of soldiers from the Wasp Empress soldiers are probably here to gather information about the Lord. Ruoji guessed. Everyone nodded in agreement. Zhou had the same guess. After that, he ordered Ruoji to lead the monster army to destroy this group of Wasp Empress soldiers and ask them for information. Ruoji received the order and left. After a while, it returned to Zhou, reporting to my lord. I've already eliminated that team of Wasp Empress soldiers and interrogated them for some information. The Lord of East Demon City and the Lord of Red Wasp Town do know about us. They have already sent out some teams to find the location of our army. I just destroyed one of them. However, they don't intend to look for us directly. Instead, they plan to guard the city and wait for us to take the initiative to go over. Ruoji said respectfully. Zhou raised his eyebrows. A white platinum tier regional Scarlet Lord and a yellow gold tier regional Scarlet Lord did not take the initiative to look for him. A human lord who had only developed for more than 10 days. They were either cautious, or they were very sure that he would take the initiative to look for them. He had to admit, they were right. Zhou would indeed take the initiative to look for them. With the greedy wolf avatar in his hands, in addition to the 2 dragons, for heroes and 1 divine kingdom soldier type, he was naturally not afraid of attacking a city. Not to mention that he still had 50 mist energy cannons specially used to attack. To Red Wasp Town, Zhou immediately made a decision. Yes, by Yun Wu Xian, and the others immediately obeyed. Then, they immediately led the 2 armies onto the Black Ghost and headed for Red Wasp Town. 5 minutes later, Red Wasp Town. There was a huge red beehive building here. It was 2,000 to 3,000 meters tall and more than 5,000 meters long and wide. It was densely covered in hexagonal nests of all sizes, looking like a wonder. When Zhou and the others first saw this building, they were shocked. They did not expect Red Wasp Town to be built in such a special method. Only Ruoji's expression was normal. It was obvious that he had long known what Red Wasp Town looked like. At this moment, a buzzing sound sounded from the huge blood-colored beehive. It was still very weak at first. However, as time passed, the buzzing became even louder and noisier. At the same time, red-eyed blood bees with a pair of huge red compound eyes and a 3 to 4 meter long black poisonous needle at the end flew out of the huge red beehive. In the end, more than 50,000 red-eyed blood wasps flew out. They were all members of the Red Wasp Town's Wasp Empress. At this moment, these Wasp Empress members all looked up at the black ghost in the sky. An extremely obvious malice seeped out of their compound eyes. Zhou looked at them. His gaze casually landed on a green bronze tier intermediate grade red-eyed blood wasp. A monster notification appeared. Monster name, red-eyed blood wasp, strength level, green bronze tier intermediate grade. Monster description. Fog subject of the Taiyan Kingdom's Red Wasp Town. They are famous in the Taiyan Kingdom for being able to produce specialties, blood honey. They have the extremely poisonous red blood poison spike as their attack method. In addition to their flying ability and living habits as a group, even the powerful fog monster lord doesn't dare to provoke them casually. Loot's drop rate. 4 green bronze tier mist cores drop rate. 100%. 1 kilogram of green bronze tier intermediate grade blood honey, drop rate. 20%. 1 green bronze tier intermediate grade equipment, red blood poison spike, drop rate. 10%. 1 shallow faith tier scarlet crystals, drop rate. 1%. Specialty. Zhou raised his eyebrows. Until now, he had only come into contact with one specialty other than the blood honey in front of him. That was the Jade Sun Tree Seed. It not only has the function of a wind breaker and sand fixation, but also of reversing desert soil and water in ecological environment. Moreover, the Jade Sun fruit it produced could replenish vitality and recover from injuries. There were many benefits. Ever since he knew the benefits of the Jade Sun fruit, he really hoped to obtain other useful specialties. However, he had never encountered it again. He did not expect there to be new specialties in the Taiyan Kingdom. He had come to the right place. Zhou thought. Chapter 312 Killing the Red-Eyed Blood Wasp King. Bines Core. Zhou looked at the other red-eyed blood wasps. He realized that the loots of the black iron tier and bronze tier red-eyed blood wasps were similar. However, the red-eyed blood wasps above the white silver tier would drop a dessert and recipe called blood honey sweet cake. It was obvious that this was a dish made from blood honey. Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. He had also dropped recipes before. However, this was the first time he had seen a special recipe with specialties as ingredients. What does it smell like? Zhou thought. At this moment, a dignified and low hum sounded from the huge red beehive. Then, a huge red-eyed blood wasp that was more than 50 meters tall flew out of the beehive. My lord, this is the lord of Red Wasp Town. Red-eyed blood wasp King Mais. Ruoji said. Zhou acknowledged. He looked at the red-eyed blood wasp king. Monster information appeared. Monster name, Red-eyed blood wasp king, Mais regional scarlet lord. Strength level, white platinum tier intermediate grade. Monster description, Taiyan Kingdom, Lord of Red Wasp Town. He controls the entire territory of Red Wasp Town, and is famous in the Taiyan Kingdom for the specialties that his territory can produce, blood honey. The poisonous needle at the end has an extremely poisonous red blood poison. His personality is xenophobic. He doesn't have a good relationship with the officialdom of the Taiyan Kingdom, but he is extremely loyal to the king of the Taiyan Kingdom. Loot's drop rate, 60 white platinum tier miss cores drop rate, 100%. 100 origin crystals drop rate, 100%. 100 kilograms white platinum tier intermediate grade blood honey king. Drop rate, 20%. 1 kg white platinum tier intermediate grade blood honey king cake. Drop rate, 6%. 1 white platinum tier intermediate grade blood honey king cake recipe drop rate, 5%. 1 white platinum tier intermediate grade wasp king blood stinger equipment. Drop rate, 3%. 1 white platinum tier intermediate grade special architectural blueprint red-eyed blood beehive. Drop rate, 2%. 1 bee nest core, white platinum tier intermediate grade. Drop rate, 1%. 1 fanatic believer scarlet crystals drop rate, 1%. 9 black iron tier lord talent crystal fragments. Drop rate, 0%. Lower the spaceship. Destroy them. Zhou retracted his gaze and ordered. Yes, my lord. Everyone said respectfully. Then, the black ghost quickly descended and quickly landed more than 100 meters above the ground. Just as they were about to fly down the spaceship, the red-eyed blood wasp king in the distance suddenly let out an urgent buzzing sound. Right on the heels of that, the more than 50,000 red-eyed blood wasps flew towards the black ghost, as if they had received an order. The distance between the two closed in the blink of an eye. At this moment, Nazario flew out of the black ghost first. It looked at the more than 50,000 red-eyed blood wasps flying over, and the red-eyed blood wasp king flying at the front. There was no fear in its scarlet dragon eyes, as it only looked at them coldly. Seeing that these red-eyed blood wasps were about to reach its, Nazario willed. A wall of magma more than 500 meters tall appeared between the two sides out of thin air, isolating these red-eyed blood wasps, Black Ghost, and Nazario. The red-eyed blood wasp king. Mais reacted extremely quickly, and immediately changed from charging forward to flying into the sky, narrowly avoiding the magma wall. However, the red-eyed blood wasps that followed it in its rapid charge were unlucky. The sudden appearance of the magma wall made it impossible for them to dodge. Pu. It was like a stone falling into the water. In the blink of an eye, 3,000 to 4,000 red-eyed blood wasps rushed into the magma wall, and were quickly burned to charcoal, finally becoming a part of the magma. The air suddenly filled with the fragrance of honey. Nazario and the soldiers who were gradually landing in the spaceship behind it could not help but swallow. The red-eyed blood wasp king. Mais also saw the tragic state of his subjects. It buzzed angrily. Then, the remaining red-eyed blood wasps circled around the wall of magma and attacked Nazario and the soldiers behind it. Roar! Roar! 2 dragon roars sounded. It was Nazario and Auguste, who had just come out, who released their dragon might at the same time. An overwhelming dragon might poured out of the 2 pure-blooded dragons and landed on these red-eyed blood wasps in the blink of an eye. Even the red-eyed blood wasp king froze and looked at the 2 pure-blooded dragons in fear with its red compound eyes. Seeing this, Nazario and Auguste flew into the red-eyed blood wasps with ferocious gazes and began to slaughter them. The soldiers behind them had also summoned their greedy wolf avatars under Wu Xin's orders, and began to slaughter these red-eyed blood wasp kings. Half an hour later, more than 50,000 red-eyed blood wasps were all eliminated. Even though the red-eyed blood wasp king had the strength of a white platinum tier intermediate grade, it still died at the hands of Nazario, who only had the strength of a yellow gold tier advanced grade. Your pet, Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction, Nazario has killed the red-eyed blood wasp king, Mise, Regional Scarlet Lord. Promotion energy plus 40,000. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your pet Nazario has obtained an additional 800,000 promotion energy. The territory of the Scarlet Lord has become ownerless. You can plunder or occupy it. Red Wasp Town has become an ownerless area. After you obtain the regional token, you can become the regional lord of this area. Zhou looked at the 800,000 promotion energy points in the notification and smiled. It felt good to use 2,000% of the additional promotion energy obtained. A moment later, Bai Yin came in front of Zhou, reporting to my lord. I just brought people into the huge red beehive, and realized that there are still some red-eyed blood wasp cubs that have yet to hatch. Should we get rid of them too? Bai Yin asked. How many are there? How's the incubation state? Zhou pondered for a few seconds and asked. About 11,000 of them. More than 3,000 of them are in a half-hatched state, and the rest are unhatched. Bai Yin was already prepared. Get rid of the dangerous ones first. Let's not worry about the rest for now. Zhou thought for a moment and said. He thought of the bee nest cores in the loots of the red-eyed blood wasp king. The young red-eyed blood wasps might be useful. Yes, my lord. Bai Yin received the order and left. Seeing this, Zhou looked at the corpse of the red-eyed blood wasp king that had just been sent over. He walked over and placed his hand on its red transparent wings. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord Talent notification. You have obtained Perfect Loots, 72 Diamond Tier Mist Cores drop rate. 100%. 120 Origin Crystals drop rate. 100%. 120 kilograms of Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Blood Honey Royal Jelly, drop rate. 20%. 1 kg of Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Blood Honey Royal Cake, drop rate. 6%. 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Blood Honey Royal Cake Recipe, drop rate. 5%. 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Wasp King Blood Stinger, drop rate. 3%. 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Special Architectural Blueprint Red-Eyed Blood Beehive, drop rate. 2%. 1 Bee Nest Core, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade, drop rate. 1%. 1 Fanatic Believer Scarlet Crystal drop rate. 1%. 11 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments drop rate 0%. Zhou began to check the loots one by one. Chapter 313 Blood Honey Royal Jelly. Blood Honey Royal Cake. He ignored the usual mist cores, Origin Crystals, Scarlet Crystals, Scarlet Lord Talent Sphere, and Lord Talent Crystal Fragment, and looked directly at the Blood Honey Royal Jelly. Specialty name. Blood Honey Royal Jelly. Specialty level. Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade, Specialty Effect 1. After consumption, it can greatly replenish your blood and qi, allowing your physical state and appearance to gradually return to their youngest peak. Specialty Effect 2. Every kilogram of Blood Honey Royal Jelly consumed can restore the user's basic lifespan by 5 years. Specialty Description. A special honey that can only be produced by the Blood Jade Wasp Emperor. It has a magical effect that can allow life forms to recover to a young state and restore a small portion of their lifespan that has been consumed. Note: the amount of basic lifespan increased by consuming the Blood Honey Royal Jelly cannot exceed the total basic lifespan consumed by the user. Zhou raised his eyebrows. He was a little surprised. This Blood Honey Royal Jelly actually had the effect of restoring youth and extending lifespan. This effect was useless to him, who was still young. However, to those living beings who were already on the verge of death, It was definitely a treasure that could be said to be a treasure. If he took it out to exchange with those life forms, he would definitely be able to obtain huge benefits. Then he thought of Elder Wu. Even though Elder Wu was gradually recovering his strength, his old age and body, that had already entered his later years, were ultimately obstacles to his strength growth. If he could give this blood honey royal jelly to Elder Wu to consume, and let him return to his youth, perhaps it could speed up Elder Wu's recovery, and even allow him to take another step forward. He'll find an opportunity to give it to Elder Wu, Zhou thought. He had always been generous towards people who were dead loyal to him, especially those who had made many contributions. As for the upper limit of the lifespan increased by the blood honey royal jelly, it was actually not a big flaw. After all, for those who were about to die, even if they could only obtain a year of lifespan, or even a day of lifespan, it was enough to make them go crazy for the blood honey royal jelly. He looked at the introduction of the specialties. His gaze landed on the name Blood Jade Wasp Emperor. Blood Jade Wasp Emperor. Is it a fog monster with a higher level bloodline than the red-eyed blood wasp? Zhou pondered. Suddenly, he looked at the huge red-eyed blood beehive in the distance, and thought of the uses of the young red-eyed blood bees living inside. I can nurture the red-eyed blood wasp in the monster ranch. The blood honey and blood honey sweet cake produced by the red-eyed blood wasps shouldn't be much different from the blood honey royal jelly and blood honey royal cake, right? If it's really not much different, this specialty is simply a huge treasure, Zhou thought. Then, he immediately called over a soldier and asked him to bring over the corpse of a white silver tier intermediate grade red-eyed blood wasp boss. He extracted it and successfully obtained a yellow gold tier intermediate grade blood honey and a yellow gold tier intermediate grade blood honey sweet cake recipe blueprint. Zhou looked over. Specialty name: blood honey. Specialty level: yellow gold tier intermediate grade. Specialty effect: consuming it for a long time can replenish a portion of your blood and qi, allowing your appearance to slowly recover to its youngest peak. Specialty description: a special honey that can only be produced by red-eyed blood wasps. It has a special effect that can slowly allow life forms to recover their young appearance. Zhou frowned. This effect was actually so much inferior to the blood honey royal jelly. Not only did he need to take it for a long time to slowly recover to his youthful appearance, moreover, it did not restore the physical state of the user, which meant only when his appearance could recover to its youngest peak, while his body essentially remained that of an old person. Most importantly, the blood honey actually did not have the effect of increasing the lifespan of the blood honey royal jelly. Then its value would be greatly reduced. Zhou frowned and thought for a few seconds. Then he looked at the recipe for the blood honey sweet cake. Recipe name: blood honey sweet cake. Recipe grade: yellow gold tier intermediate grade. Dishes effect 1. The blood honey sweet cake has a sweet but not greasy edible effect. Most people who eat it will like this sweet delicious food. Dishes effect 2. Eating the blood honey royal cake can greatly replenish your blood and qi, allowing your physical state and appearance to gradually return to their youngest peak. Recipe: 5 kg of blood honey, yellow gold tier intermediate grade. 1 kg of red-eyed blood wasp blood, yellow gold tier intermediate grade. 1 spring return flower, yellow gold tier intermediate grade. 1 withered flower, yellow gold tier intermediate grade. Dishes description: a delicious dessert created with the blood honey produced by the red-eyed blood wasps as the main ingredient. High-level blood honey sweet cake is often given to the king of the Taiyan kingdom as a gift by the red-eyed blood wasp king, Mais. It is one of the favorite gifts of the king of the Taiyan kingdom. Learning requirement: only chefs can learn. Zhou's expression was calm. This blood honey sweet cake could only replenish more blood qi than the blood honey. While it could not increase his lifespan, its value was higher than the blood honey, but not much higher. However, it could be sold publicly on the high continent, or in the marketplace precisely because it was not very valuable. As for the blood honey royal jelly that could increase one's lifespan, this thing was too valuable. It was easy to attract the covetous eyes of true experts. Zhou did not dare to sell it yet. It could be circulated internally, sold or given to his close friends. Then he looked at the blood honey royal cake. Recipe name: blood honey royal cake. Recipe grade: diamond tier intermediate grade. Dishes effect 1. The blood honey royal cake is extremely delicious, surpassing most delicacies in the world. Most life forms will never forget it as long as they eat it once. Dishes effect 2. Eat a portion of blood honey royal cake, and your physical state and appearance can immediately recover to your youngest peak. Dishes effect 3. Every serving of blood honey emperor is high enough to increase the consumer's basic lifespan by 20 years and 10 additional years. Recipe: 5 kg of blood honey royal jelly, diamond tier intermediate grade. 1 kg of blood jade wasp emperor blood, diamond tier intermediate grade. 1 unaging flower, diamond tier intermediate grade. 1 withered branch, diamond tier intermediate grade. Dishes description: a super delicious dessert created with the blood honey royal jelly produced by the blood jade wasp emperor as the main ingredient. Not only can it immediately restore a life form to its youngest peak state, but it can also increase a life form's lifespan. Note 1. The number of basic lifespan restored by consuming the blood honey royal cake cannot exceed the number of basic lifespan that the user has consumed. Learning requirement: only chefs can learn. Zhou eyes widened when he saw the effect of the blood honey royal cake. A portion of blood honey royal cake could actually immediately restore a life form to its youngest peak state. Moreover, he could live for another 30 years? This is a true treasure. Zhou took a deep breath. However, he thought of something and frowned slightly. He remembered that there did not seem to be a diamond tier intermediate grade chef in his territory. The highest seemed to be a yellow gold tier chef. A chef of this level could not learn a recipe of this level. But soon, Zhou relaxed his eyebrows. Even though he did not have a diamond tier intermediate grade chef yet, this red-eyed blood wasp king dropped a portion of blood honey royal cake. This could be used directly. He sent someone to call Wuxia over without hesitation. Chapter 314: Blood Jade Wasp Emperor Bee Nest. Bee Nest Core. Greetings, my lord. Wuxia soon came in front of Zhou and said respectfully, Elder Wu, you've worked hard. Zhou acknowledged. We won the battle, and no soldier under our command was injured or sacrificed. I don't feel tired at all. Elder Wu chuckled. He felt a little happy. He achieved 0 casualties, while taking down a yellow gold tier regional territory. Even when he was at the peak of his service in the Aurora Kingdom, he had never achieved such results. Today, he could be considered to have established his new record. Thinking of this, he was even more grateful to the Lord for giving him the greedy wolf totem. This greedy wolf totem not only improved his ability to command, but it also made him rarely see the lives of his soldiers. Moreover, he had vaguely unearthed a new direction in military formations. Wuxia was a master of military formations to begin with. He also had a unique hero skill like desired military morale that controlled the morale of the army. He had a faint feeling, if he could comprehend more of the mysteries of the greedy wolf howling moon array, perhaps he could set it up with his own ability, even if he did not use the greedy wolf howling moon array in the future. However, he only had some clues about this matter, and had yet to achieve any concrete results. Therefore, Wuxia did not plan to tell his lord for the time being. It would not be too late to tell the lord when he could bring out the true results. He thought. At this moment, Wuxia saw his lord flip his right hand and take out a palm-sized golden box. As soon as he took it out, an extremely alluring fragrance of honey emitted from the box. Wu Xin's nose could not help but twitch. However, he actually felt that his body had some youthful vitality after taking 2 breaths. Wuxia was shocked. He immediately realized that there was probably some important treasure in this box. Then he saw his lord hand the box to him. Elder Wu, this is for you. This thing is called the blood honey royal cake. After eating the entire portion, not only can you immediately restore your appearance and physical state to your most youthful state, moreover, it can restore 20 years of your basic lifespan and increase your lifespan by an additional 10 years. I'll bring it back to eat tonight. Don't tell anyone, and don't spread this blood honey royal cake. Zhou said. Wu Xin's eyes widened. He looked at the box in his hand in disbelief. He did not expect there to be such a treasure in this box. Restoration of youth, and increasing one's lifespan. This was something that only God's spirits could do in some myths and legends. He did not expect his lord to have such a method. Wuxian looked a little hesitant before saying reluctantly, "My lord, this treasure is too precious. I've already taken the hero inheritance given to me by my lord. How can I be so greedy to take such a treasure again? Moreover, as a general, even though I'm already old, my body is still quite strong. If my lord doesn't need such a treasure, it's more suitable to give it to Zheng Yuanqi, Bai Yuejing and the others. Of course, this is just a small suggestion. I'll leave everything to you, my lord. Elder Wu, just accept it. You've been fighting with me for a long time, and have made many contributions. The hero inheritance is nothing. That only represents the reward for the contribution you established some time ago. There will naturally be new rewards for the new contributions during this period of time. This blood honey royal cake is like this. As for Elder Zheng and the others, Elder Wu, you don't have to worry. In the future, none of them will lack this." Zhou smiled. He already planned to put the red-eyed blood wasps into the monster ranch to nurture. In the future, when the level of the monster ranch increased, and the level of the red-eyed blood wasps increased, they would naturally be able to produce treasures like the Blood Honey King, and even the Blood Honey Royal Jelly, and the Blood Honey Royal Cake. When the time comes, Zheng Yuanqi, Bai Yuejing, Qian Jiangsheng, and the other elders could naturally recover to their youngest states. It was even possible for him to live forever. Wuxian was speechless. "Thank you for the reward, my lord. I'm willing to die for my lord." He knelt on the ground and said fanatically. He knelt on one knee and cupped his fists. If everyone could really have such a treasure in the future, there was nothing for him to be shy about. Zhou smiled and helped him up. Then, the two of them chatted for a while before Wuxian left. After Wuxian left, Zhou continued to look at the other loots. It was a blood-red spike with a grip at the end. The overall style looked a little like the Western sword on the Cerulean planet. Equipment name, Wasp King Blood Stinger. Equipment grade, Diamond Tier Intermediate grade. Equipment effect 1. Be Emperor Blood Poison. The Wasp King Blood Stinger contains the highly toxic venom of the Blood Jade Wasp Emperor. Flesh life forms injured by it will immediately be poisoned by the Blood Jade Wasp Emperor Blood Poison. Flesh life forms below the Diamond Tier will die immediately if they come into contact with it. Flesh life forms above the Diamond Tier will also lose some of their lifespan after being scratched. Equipment effect 2. Wasp King Blood Stinger. Hold the Wasp King Blood Stinger and inject energy into it to condense the Wasp Emperor Poison Spike. From there, release it and kill the enemy from afar. Equipment effect 3. Poison Gathering. Stab the Bee Emperor Blood Poison into something poisonous. It can absorb venom at the Diamond Tier Intermediate grade and below to increase the toxicity of the blood poison in the Bee Emperor Blood Poison Spike. It can increase the toxicity to the Extraordinary Tier Elementary grade at most. Good equipment. Zhou looked at the equipment and praised it. Unfortunately, the grade was too high, and he could not use it. This was also a blissful distress on Zhou. If other lords obtained a treasure that exceeded their current level, they would not be vexed even if they could not use it. Instead, they would treasure it and put it away. They would use it when their strength increased in the future. However, Zhou had already seen too many treasures that exceeded his current level through the mythical tier lord talent, the King of Loots. Therefore, he was more troubled than excited. Fortunately, he had an abnormal lord talent like the blessing of the war god. The strength of Zhou and his subordinates was rapidly increasing. Treasures or equipment that he had obtained but could not use in the past. It could gradually be used now. He did not have to worry about not using it. He put away the equipment. Then, he looked at the special building blueprint and nest core of the Blood Jade Wasp Emperor. Construction blueprint name, Blood Jade Wasp Emperor Beehive. Blueprint quality, Special Diamond Tier Intermediate grade, construction effect. After learning it, you can build a Diamond Tier Intermediate grade special building, Blood Jade Wasp Emperor Beehive. After completion, You can obtain 10 kilograms of blood honey royal jelly every day, and 1 serving of blood honey royal cake every 10 days. Construction materials: 100 million units of wood, 100 million units of fine sand, 100 million units of metal, 100 million units of stone, 1 million units of forged stainless steel, 1 million units of light silver, 1 million units of adamantine, 1 million units of mithril, 10,000 units of each of the 4 basic elemental gemstones, 10,000 diamond tier mist cores. Building description: the nest of the blood jade wasp emperor. It can produce rare specialties, blood honey royal jelly and blood honey royal cake. Learning requirement: only architects can learn it. Treasure name: Bee Nest Core. Treasure grade: diamond tier intermediate grade. Treasure effect: place it at the core of the beehive below the diamond tier intermediate grade. You can become the lord of the beehive and completely control all the life forms and resources in the beehive. Treasure description: from the red-eyed blood wasp king, Mises beehive core. I was right. This bee nest core can indeed be used to control the beehive. Zhou thought. However, this was indeed not difficult to guess. He could roughly guess a thing or two from the name bee nest core. Chapter 315: Using the bee nest core. Red-eyed blood beehive. Then, Zhou's gaze landed on the blood jade wasp emperor beehive. He looked at the building materials of this special building and frowned slightly. So many materials were actually needed. Moreover, there was no lack of high-level materials like adamantine, mithril, and elemental gems. However, Zhou immediately understood when he thought about how this building was a special diamond tier intermediate grade building. Not to mention that after it was built, it could regularly provide treasures like the blood honey royal jelly and the blood honey royal cake. I do have the basic materials and the mist core. But there's not enough forged stainless steel, light silver, adamantine, mithril, and elemental gems. Zhou thought for a moment and opened the marketplace to set up a transaction to buy materials other than the basic materials. He had previously understood the price of materials like forged stainless steel, light silver, adamantine, mithril, and elemental gems from the marketplace. Therefore, the price set was relatively reasonable. Among them, forged stainless steel and light silver could be bought according to green bronze tier materials. 1 green bronze tier mist core could buy 10 units of forged stainless steel, or 10 units of light silver. Mithril and adamantine were bought according to white silver tier materials. 1 white silver tier mist core could buy 10 units of forged stainless steel, or 10 units of light silver. As for the price of elemental gems, they were bought according to yellow gold tier materials. 1 yellow gold tier mist core to buy 10 units of basic elemental gems. The setup was completed and the transaction was announced. Then he ignored it. This time he had bought a lot of materials. Moreover, it involved yellow gold tier elemental gems. Only top-notch lords could come into contact with materials of this level in the early stages. It would probably take at least a day or two to gather them all. After that, he called Bai Yun over and followed her into the red-eyed blood beehive. Then he took many turns and arrived at its core hive. This hive was 100 meters long, and its interior was blood red. After walking in, Zhou immediately smelled a rich fragrance of blood honey. This was the residence of the red-eyed blood wasp king Mise. He took a rough look and quickly discovered a territory stone tablet and a blood-red rectangular object that looked like an altar in the center of the hive. Zhou walked closer and first walked to the territory stone tablet. After he asked Bai Yun to shatter the territory token, he only took the regional token inside and did not take the territory token. Then he chose to occupy Red Wasp Town. Before long, this territory token would naturally return to its original state and wrap around the territory token again. At this point, the red-eyed blood beehive in front of him and its regional territory belonged to Zhou. Then he walked to an altar-like thing at the side. Then, he saw a hexagonal groove identical to the shape of the bee nest core on the altar. Seeing this, Zhou took out the bee nest core he had just obtained and placed it in the groove. There was a click. The bee nest core was perfectly embedded in the groove. The next second, rumble. The entire hive shook slightly, Bai Yun's expression immediately changed. The expressions of the surrounding soldiers in charge of guarding also changed. Don't panic. I did it. At this moment his lord's voice sounded. His calm tone made everyone relax, even though he was a little surprised. At the same time, 2 rows of golden words appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. Prompt. You have used the Bee Nest Core, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade, and successfully mastered a red-eyed blood beehive, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade. Prompt. You can check the related building information of this special building. When Zhou Zhou saw this, he immediately chanted to retrieve the building information of the red-eyed blood beehive. The next second, a building panel appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. Building name, Red-eyed blood beehive. Building function 1. You can obtain 100 kilograms of blood honey and 5 servings of blood honey sweet cake every day. Building function 2. It can be used to nurture red-eyed blood wasps and store blood honey and blood sweet cake. Current number of red-eyed blood wasps, 8,136. Incomplete hatching. Maximum number to be breed, 100,000. Current amount of blood honey, 10,234 kilograms. Maximum storage, 1 million kilograms. Current number of blood honey sweet cakes, 112 servings. Maximum number of stockpiles, 100,000. Construction upgrade. Lacks a red-eyed blood wasp king above the white platinum tier intermediate grade. Unable to upgrade. Building description. The beehive of the red-eyed blood wasps. It can produce specialty blood honey and blood honey cake. Zhou Zhou nodded in his heart. Even though it could only provide blood honey and sweet cake, but it was not the blood honey royal jelly and blood honey royal cake. However, what was given for free was better than nothing. Zhou Zhou did not care about the diamond tier intermediate grade Bee Nest cores consumed for this. There was no point in keeping that thing. After all, he did not know which higher level beehives could be occupied by the Bee Nest cores. Since that was the case, he might as well use it directly. If he encountered a beehive below the diamond tier intermediate grade in the future, he would tear it down again at most. Half an hour later, all the red-eyed blood wasp corpses had their loots extracted by the 10 yellow gold tier advanced grade conquerors blast furnaces. After that, Zhou Zhou left 2,000 monster army soldiers here, and led the others onto the Black Ghost again, heading straight for the East Demon City. A moment later, in the sky above East Demon City, in the Black Ghost, Zhou Zhou and the others looked at the virtual screen in front of them. It displayed the city face of East Demon City. The cities in East Demon City were much more normal compared to the red-eyed blood beehive. Not only that, it was also 3 to 4 times larger than the previous Dark Knight town. Even though the architectural style still did not match the aesthetic standards of the human race, at least it could still be used. Moreover, all kinds of buildings were available, and there was no lack of yellow gold tier and white platinum tier life profession buildings. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up when he saw these white platinum tier buildings. There were also some white platinum tier lifestyle professionals in his territory. However, because there were not many white platinum tier architects in the territory, many of these white platinum tier lifestyle professionals did not have their own workplace. Everything would be fine now. He could capture East Demon City. At that time, the white platinum tier professionals in the territory would have an official workplace. Zhou Zhou continued to observe the buildings in the city. Occasionally he nodded slightly, and sometimes he frowned and said nothing. The reason for his frown was, many sickle fog mantis were walking around in the buildings of this East Demon City. At a glance, there were probably no less than 200,000 of them. Of course, according to Ruoji, among so many sickle fog mantises, only 150,000 were members of the East Demon Army. The rest were only the sickle fog mantis subjects under the East Demon City Lord. These sickle fog mantises were extremely weak. Compared to the members of the East Demon Army's sickle fog mantis, it was basically equivalent to the difference between professionals and normal subjects. After observing for a while, Zhou Zhou ordered Wuxia to lower the spaceship. Soon, the spaceship landed more than 100 meters above the ground and began to release the soldiers. In less than a moment, Bai Yun, Wuxia, Nazario, Auguste, and the members of the two armies all alighted from the spaceship. At the same time, on the city wall of the East Demon City, the Sickle Fog Mantis guards in charge of patrolling also discovered Zhou and the others. They'll report it to Lord East Demon. If the other party has any new movements, immediately send someone over to inform us, the captain of the patrolling guard said. Then he immediately ran down the city wall and rushed towards the City Lord Manor. Chapter 316 Insight Defection Again. In the City Lord Manor, the Sickle Fog Mantis Lord East Demon was swallowing and spitting scarlet fog to cultivate. It was wearing a red cloak and had a calm expression. Just by looking at its expression, it looked like a monk who had comprehended the Zen. However, if anyone saw the 6 silver-gray sharp arm blades exposed and the faint black murderous aura on its body, they probably would not think so. At this moment, a yellow gold tier elementary grade Sickle Fog Mantis boss rushed in, reporting to Lord East Demon. A guard just reported, "That human lord is already here. It's outside the city." It reported respectfully, "It's finally here." The Sickle Fog Mantis Lord East Demon slowly opened its blood-red eyes. The next second, its body suddenly disappeared. On the city wall of the East Demon City, the Sickle Fog Mantis Lord suddenly appeared here. "Greetings, Lord East Demon." When the surrounding Sickle Fog Mantis saw this scene, they were not surprised. Clearly, they were already used to this scene. Who in the entire East Demon City did not know that their lord had the ability to teleport anywhere? Lord East Demon nodded. Then he looked into the distance. It immediately saw Zhou and the others. After observing for a while, its expression gradually became serious. This was because it could actually sense no less than 200 white platinum tier auras from the other party's army. But how was this possible? Didn't the information say that the other party was only a lord of all races, who had just arrived in the High Continent? How could there be so many white platinum tier experts in such a short period of time? He owned the entire East Demon City, and only had more than 20 white platinum tier Sickle Fog Mantis subordinates under him. Even so, it was considered one of the top 5 lords among the 11 white platinum tier regional territories in the Taiyan Kingdom. The Sickle Fog Mantis Lord suddenly had an idea that he was unwilling to believe. It might not be able to defeat this human lord. We can't give up just like that. I don't have any reinforcements behind me, and I have no other way out. If we escape from here, we'll die faster. Moreover, victory on the battlefield is not determined by the difference in strength between the two sides. If I fight to the death, I might really be able to survive. He thought for a moment, and called over an elite white silver tier elementary grade Sickle Fog Mantis. "I need you to do 2 things. The first thing is to quickly write a new letter to His Majesty, and tell him the situation here, and the strength of the human lord opposite. Tell him that we need reinforcements. Secondly, call for all subjects in East Demon City to fight this human lord together later. Tell the subjects that we have to do our best to obtain victory in this battle. Otherwise, none of us can survive at the hands of that human lord if we can't win." He said, "Yes, my lord. I'll do it now." After the Sickle Fog Mantis Lord heard this, it hurriedly agreed while secretly shocked. The other party was actually so strong, it did not dare to waste any time, and immediately turned around to do it. At this moment, it suddenly saw that after the humans set up a mysterious array, they actually released a military formation murderous aura above its head. Then, they condensed into a blood-colored divine wolf that was more than 400 meters tall. He felt an aura from the blood-colored divine wolf that made him tremble. East Demon gritted his teeth. "Everyone in the East Demon army, listen up. Everyone attack. Kill that enemy." At this moment, guarding the city was probably useless. The other party might be able to easily deal with the defense of his city. Since that was the case, it was better to send all their forces out of the city to deal with the other party. This way he could unleash his military advantage. Perhaps their chances of winning would be higher. "Yes, my lord." The Legion commander of the East Demon army, Yanzhua, immediately accepted the order. Then, he immediately ordered all the members of the army to rush out of the East Demon City and attack the greedy wolf avatar. that was also running towards the East Demon City in the distance. At the same time, a large number of Sickle Fog Mantis subjects also rushed out of East Demon City with the East Demon Army and charged at the Greedy Wolf Avatar. Even though they were very weak, they had no way out now. They could only use their lives and ruthlessness to fight for a chance to survive. Behind the battlefield, Zhou was slightly surprised when he saw the Sickle Fog Mantis surging out of the city gate in the distance and charging towards them like a tide. The other party was going all out. However, his expression quickly calmed down again. At this moment, even though they were at a disadvantage in terms of numbers, the number of experts on their side far exceeded the other parties. In addition, with the Greedy Wolf Avatar, Nazario Auguste, Feng Luo, Soul Reaper Maris, and other subordinates were also helping the Greedy Wolf Avatar. Therefore, he was not worried about losing at all. Moreover, the more troops the other party mobilized, the better it would be for him. Zhou extended his right hand calmly and aimed his palm at them. White Silver Tier Lord Talent. Insight Defection activate. Boom. An invisible fluctuation instantly covered the 200,000 Sickle Fog Mantises. The next second, more than 17,000 Sickle Fog Mantises froze. Then, the expression in their eyes changed. They turned around and attacked their companions from the East Demon Army beside them without hesitation. At this moment, the East Demon Army, which was originally attacking unanimously, suddenly fell into chaos. The Greedy Wolf Avatar, Nazario, and the others naturally would not let go of such a good opportunity. He immediately increased the speed of his charge and rushed in front of the East Demon Army in the blink of an eye. The Greedy Wolf Avatar charged into the East Demon Army without hesitation. It began to wantonly destroy the Sickle Fog Mantises that were hitting it as if it had entered an uninhabited place. Nazario and Auguste also released their dragon might at the same time. Then, they used their own methods to quickly kill these Sickle Fog Mantises. Feng Luo also rushed into the East Demon Army and used his exquisite saber techniques and escape techniques to kill wantonly among the Sickle Fog Mantis. At this moment, Zhou's side clearly had the least number of people. However, they were the ones who occupied the initiative and advantage on the battlefield. On the other side, after Zhou activated Insight Defection, he looked at the Lord Talent hint. Prompt. You have activated your Lord exclusive talent, Insight Defection. Insight Defection has taken effect. Lord Talent notification. A total of 8,239 Black Iron Tier Sickle Fog Mantises, 5,639 Green Bronze Tier Elite Sickle Fog Mantises, 2,662 White Silver Tier Elite Sickle Fog Mantises, 1,057 Yellow Gold Tier Sickle Fog Mantis bosses, and 4 Sickle Fog Mantis bosses have betrayed their Lord faction and become your loyal subordinates. A smile appeared on Zhou's face. One Insight Defection. He directly obtained more than 17,000 subordinates. Even though it could not compare to the Monster Ranch, it could also become his second source of subordinates other than the Monster Ranches. At this moment, he suddenly thought of the Taiyan Kingdom, which was fighting the Aurora Kingdom on the main battlefield. Leah once invited me to go with her to see the war between them and the Taiyan Kingdom. There will definitely be more soldiers from the Taiyan Kingdom on the main battlefield. If I use Insight Defection on the main battlefield, won't I be able to recruit more Fog Monster subordinates with more experts? Zhou suddenly thought of this possibility. Chapter 317 Sickle Fog Mantis Lord, East Demon, Spatial Lockblade Seal. Zhou was looking forward to it as he pondered. If he really had a chance to be brought to the main battlefield of the Aurora Kingdom and the Taiyan Kingdom by Leah, he might really be able to give it a try. At the same time, East Demon was also stunned when he saw the Sickle Fog Mantis soldiers and his subjects suddenly fighting among themselves. Why are they fighting? Then, he quickly reacted and looked gloomily at the Greedy Wolf Avatar that was more than 400 meters tall in the distance and the black spaceship in the sky. It must be the doing of this Lord of all races. It was not a strange skill, probably some special Lord talent or tool. As he pondered, his gaze wandered between the Greedy Wolf Avatar and the black spaceship. Finally, his gaze locked onto the black spaceship. That black spaceship is standing quietly in the air. The life form inside must be an important figure of the Lord of all races. Perhaps it's the Lord himself. If I can kill my way in, capture or kill him, I might be able to resolve this dangerous situation, East Demon quickly thought. He had also wondered if there were important figures in the greedy wolf avatar. But so what if there was? The greedy wolf avatar in front of him was a complete extraordinary tier existence. Moreover, from the aura emitted by the other party, it even had the aura of a hero, which meant there was a high chance that there were heroes among the humans who summoned this greedy wolf avatar. Under such circumstances, even if they called their Taiyan Kingdom's extraordinary tier Scarlet Hero over, it would probably be on par with the greedy wolf avatar. As a diamond tier elementary grade regional Scarlet Lord, if he dared to take the initiative to approach it, it would be no different from taking the initiative to have a death wish. He naturally would not do such a stupid thing. East Demon did not hesitate. Its body flashed and disappeared from the spot, heading straight for the black ghost. At the same time, Feng Luo suddenly sensed something. Emperor Heavenly Saber Chi. He turned around and swung his saber without hesitation. A golden saber energy, nearly 1,000 meters long, suddenly cut across the sky and slashed into the air. Boom! The space trembled slightly. A figure appeared out of thin air, without warning. It was Lord East Demon. It looked at Feng Luo in shock. He did not expect his teleportation to be forcefully used by the other party. At this moment, Zhou, who was on the black ghost, also saw this guy. It actually knows a method similar to teleportation? You want to deal with me directly? Good idea. Zhou's expression was calm. He was not worried. This was because the black ghost was a spaceship that contained space technology. The space technology included not only folding space technology, but also spatial lockdown technology. Spatial lockdown technology was science and technology that specialized in restraining spatial mobility. The interior of the black ghost was constantly maintaining a spatial lockdown. It was to prevent an existence like East Demon from teleporting directly into the spaceship to assassinate the captain. In addition, it was fine even if the other party could teleport in front of Zhou. He had not learned the skills for nothing after all. Not to mention that he still had the death immunity scroll he had just obtained from the god of death. All kinds of methods. It was enough to ensure his safety. Zhou looked at the Sickle Fog Mantis Lord. A monster notification appeared. Monster name: Sickle Fog Mantis Lord, East Demon, Regional Scarlet Lord. Monster description: Taiyan Kingdom, Lord of East Demon City. He controls the entire territory of East Demon City, and is also one of the bosses of the Sickle Fog Mantis race. The Sickle Fog Mantis race has 6 extremely sharp saber arms. They are born a saber expert. East Demon is even the best among them, who has experienced thousands of battles. Its close combat suppression is extremely famous in the entire Taiyan Kingdom. Loot's drop rate: 50 diamond tier mist cores drop rate, 100%. 300 origin crystals drop rate, 100%. 1 diamond tier elementary grade skill book, 1000 saber annihilation slash, drop rate, 20%. 1 special equipment 6-armed scythe drop rate, 10%. 1 special equipment, shadowless wings drop rate, 6%. 1 special equipment, spatial teleportation drop rate, 2%. 1 frenzy tier scarlet crystals drop rate, 1%. 4 black iron tier lord talent crystal fragments, drop rate, 0%. Fanatic believer scarlet crystals? Then wouldn't it be another faith divine crystal after killing it? Zhou looked at the other loots calmly. However, his eyes immediately lit up when he saw the fanatic believer scarlet crystals. This thing could only be chanced upon by luck. Previously, he had used it to exchange for a death immunity scroll at the God of Death Temple. He thought that it might be a long time before he obtained another Holy Spirit tier faith divine crystal. He did not expect to encounter it again after so long. Zhou immediately thought of the heroic spirit hall. As long as he obtained this fanatic believer scarlet crystals, he could also revive one of the heroes in the heroic spirit hall. At that time, he would exchange benefits with the Knight Temple. With the reputation and class of the Knight Temple, That benefit was most likely not much inferior to the death immunity scroll. What was going on? He should be able to exchange for another hero inheritance, right? In midair, Feng Luo flew in front of East Demon with a saber in one hand and a shield in the other, and looked at him coldly. East Demon narrowed his eyes slightly. His expression did not change, but he was a little surprised. This was because he could feel that the other party's strength was only at the White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. A White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade human could actually fight a Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Regional Scarlet Lord out of space? He was in disbelief. But soon, he sensed the faint pressure of a high slot from the other party. This made him even more shocked, and he understood. So the other party was a hero. That made sense. Other than high-level bloodline existences and other special life forms. Perhaps only a hero, a high-level existence recognized by the Supreme Resistance, could easily fight it above his level. However, even so, the East Demon did not give up on his idea. He narrowed his eyes slightly and used teleportation to disappear into the air again. Feng Luo shook his head. He picked up the treasure saber that the Lord had given him and drew a golden cross in the air. The golden cross quickly fused into space and disappeared. After the golden cross fused into the space the next second, East Demon actually bounced out of space again. This is the spatial lock blade seal I recently comprehended. Specially used to deal with enemies like you who can hide in space. How's it going? The effect is not bad, right? Feng Luo smiled. After he accepted Zun Wu's 10-directional martial emperor hero inheritance, the vast martial arts manuals that Zun Wu had once mastered appeared in his mind. He had just developed this move after 2 days of focused research. He did not expect it to come in handy today. He could only say that this Sickle Fog Mantis Lord was not very lucky. He might not be able to stop East Demon if he did not study martial arts moves to deal with enemies who were good at escaping. Chapter 318 Feng Luo's Breakthrough. Special Equipment and Special Skills. You made me do this. When East Demon saw this, he also realized that if he did not deal with the human hero in front of him, it was absolutely impossible for him to hurt the big shot in the spaceship behind him. With a ferocious expression, he flapped his wings and flew towards Feng Luo at high speed. The distance between the two disappeared in an instant. After East Demon arrived in front of Feng Luo, the 6 sickle-shaped sabers on its body immediately slashed out countless silver-gray saber lights that enveloped Feng Luo like a violent storm. Feng Luo was not afraid at all. He calmly used the extreme saber and shield combination technique. As he defended against the other party's attack, he found an opportunity to counterattack. The more East Demon fought, the more shocked he became. To be able to become a lord of a White Platinum Tier regional territory, he was naturally someone who had experienced thousands of battles. In addition, his race could control 6 main body arm sabers at the same time. Therefore, his suppression in close combat was very famous, even in the entire Taiyan kingdom. However, he, who was good at close combat, actually felt that the other party's defense was too perfect when facing this human hero's defense. He could not find a chance to win in one strike. Not only that, he also felt that the other party was gradually familiarizing itself with his attack tempo. If he completely grasped the rhythm of his offensive, he would not be far from death. He had encountered an expert. East Demon thought to himself. He gritted his teeth and suddenly slashed the other party away. Then he instantly retreated more than 100 meters. Right on the heels of that, all 6 of its arm blades were aimed at Feng Luo. Then, it waved them repeatedly, releasing hundreds or thousands of silver-gray saber chi. These thousands of silver-gray saber chi covered Feng Luo like a rain of saber chi in the blink of an eye. Rumble! A violent explosion sounded. Feng Luo was already drowned in the explosion caused by more than 1,000 saber energies accompanied by scorching light and heat slash. War! War! East Demon panted as he looked at the explosion in the distance. A few seconds later, his expression gradually relaxed. He should be dead, right? Even though he's a hero of the human race, his strength is only at the White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade after all. He shouldn't be able to withstand my full-strength strike. It looked coldly at the center of the explosion and flew towards the black ghost. The spatial lockdown was not over yet. He could not use teleportation yet. Where are you going? At this moment Feng Luo's voice sounded. The next second, an extremely fast golden saber beam suddenly shot out from the center of the explosion. In the blink of an eye, it passed through East Demon's body and arrived behind him. When the light dissipated, Feng Luo's figure appeared. East Demon's eyes widened. Then, he lowered his head trembling and looked at the bloody hole the size of a wash basin in his chest. He seemed to want to say something. However, before he could say another word, his head was beheaded by Feng Luo. Sickle Fog Mantis Lord East Demon. Die. The next second, Feng Luo suddenly felt an extremely astonishing promotion energy surge out of the other party's body and rushed into his body. Boom! An invisible air wave instantly shot out from his body, even sweeping away the clouds within a 5-kilometer radius. The terrifying pressure of a hero slot was released from Feng Luo's body. Feng Luo was stunned. He realized something. He seemed to have broken through. I've broken through to Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. His eyes gradually lit up as he felt the even more astonishing strength and physical fitness in his body. Then Feng Luo recalled the majestic promotional energy that had surged from East Demon's body when he had just killed him. He could not help but click his tongue. How much promotion energy did I absorb just now? My lord's lord talent is really too abnormal. He sighed. Then, he retracted his sword shield and waved his hands to freeze the corpses of East Demon that were about to fall to the ground. Then, he controlled them to fly back into his hand and fly towards the spaceship. Your subject 10-directional Martial Emperor, Feng Luo, has killed the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Sickle Fog Mantis Lord. East Demon, Regional Scarlet Lord. Promotion energy plus 200,000. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your subject 10-directional Martial Emperor, Feng Luo, has obtained an additional 4 million promotion energy. The territory of the Scarlet Lord has become ownerless. You can plunder or occupy it. East Demon City has become an ownerless area. After you obtain the regional token, you can become the regional lord of this area. Zhou Zhou looked at Feng Luo, who had broken through to the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade, flying towards the Black Ghost, and looked at the kill notification in front of him. He could not help but sigh. This guy killed a Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Sickle Fog Mantis Lord. It's equivalent to killing 21 similar monsters and obtaining 2 million promotion energy. It's ridiculous. Fortunately, this Lord talent belongs to me. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would already have a strong opponent if it landed in the hands of others. After a while, Feng Luo came in front of Zhou Zhou and gently placed East Demon's corpse on the ground. My lord, this guy is the lord of East Demon City and intends to assassinate you. I've already dealt with it, he said respectfully. Feng Luo also knew that his lord liked to personally retrieve his lord's loots, so he specially sent East Demon's corpse over. I've already seen it. Well done. Zhou Zhou smiled and nodded. This is my duty, Feng Luo said respectfully. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Then, the two of them did not say anything else. Feng Luo left to continue the Black Ghost and joined the battlefield again to continue destroying the other Sickle Fog Mantises. The Sickle Fog Mantis Lord was dead, but there were many Sickle Fog Mantis left. They had many group attacks on their side, so it was naturally not difficult to deal with them. It could be said that victory was set. Zhou Zhou's gaze landed on the specific corpse in front of him after Feng Luo left. He walked forward and placed it on the surface of the other party's corpse to retrieve the other party's loot. Lord Talent Notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord Talent Notification. You have obtained Perfect Loots, 60 Extraordinary Tier Mist Cores drop rate, 100%. 360 Origin Crystals drop rate, 100%. 1 Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade Skill Book, 1000 Blade Annihilation, drop rate, 20%. 1 Special Skill Book, Spatial Teleportation, drop rate, 5%. 1 special equipment, 6-armed scythe drop rate, 3%. 1 special equipment, shadowless wings drop rate, 3%. 1 Holy Spirit tier scarlet crystals drop rate, 1%. 5 green bronze tier Lord talent crystal fragments drop rate, 0%. Whoosh. The corpse of the sickle fog mantis lord instantly turned into ownerless loots. Zhou first looked at the 60 mist cores emitting blue light. It was the extraordinary tier mist core. Zhou picked it up and looked at it. He had synthesized this extraordinary tier mist core through the heavenly mist treasure bag before. However, this was the first time he had obtained it by destroying the fog monsters in reality. Zhou did not take another look and put away the 60 extraordinary tier mist cores, origin crystals, Holy Spirit scarlet crystals, and green bronze tier Lord talent crystal fragments. Then, he looked at the other items. Among them, there was no need to look at the 1000-blade annihilation. It was the ability used by the sickle fog mantis lord just now. His moves looked quite gorgeous, but they didn't seem to be of much use against Feng Luo, but it was at least a good ability to attack in groups. He could reward Feng Luo or other saber experts later. In the future, they could learn it when they reached the extraordinary tier. Or he could keep it for himself. After all, he had previously inherited the Dark Bone King's saber technique inheritance, so there was naturally no problem with using the saber. Then, Zhou looked at the other 2 special equipment and the special skill. His eyes were filled with curiosity and anticipation. Loots with the word special were rare. Chapter 319 6-Armed Scythe. Shadowless Wings. Spatial Teleportation. Zhou first looked at the half-body armor, with 6 bright silver saber arms. It looked a little like the East Demon Lord's 6-armed scythe, but he could clearly feel that it was much higher level than the arm blade. This should also be the effect of the +1 loots. Even though it was a special grade loot, the quality had still increased greatly. Equipment name, 6-armed scythe. Equipment grade, special. Equipment effect 1. After wearing this equipment, the user can automatically master the skill of controlling the 6-armed scythe on the equipment. Equipment effect 2. 1000 saber annihilation slash. After wearing this equipment, the user can accumulate destruction saber chi inside the equipment, or release 1000 saber annihilation slash through it. The specific power depends on the user's strength level. It can release at least 10 destruction saber chi at the same time, and 10,000 destruction saber chi at the same time. Every level of destruction saber chi is equivalent to the user's full strength attack. The total power cannot exceed the epic tier. This 10,000 blades destruction slash is interesting. But, accumulation? How do I accumulate them? Zhou was a little curious. Then he tried it and understood the true usage of this thing. It turned out that after wearing this half armor, he could inject energy into its 6 arm blades every day to form and accumulate the destruction saber chi. It could create up to 10,000 destructive saber energy by injecting energy. The total power would not reach or exceed the epic tier, which meant it could release an attack at the extraordinary tier limit at most. However, it could only be used once. After using it, he would have to inject energy into it again if he wanted to release the 10,000 blades destruction slash again. Good stuff. Zhou's eyes lit up. To others, this was a treasure that could be used to fight above their level. But to him, it was also a life-saving treasure that he could counterattack when he encountered an enemy's sudden attack. 4 things that could save his life. Zhou had always liked it very much. He looked at the 6 bright silver arm blades behind him. Under the support of the 6 bright silver arm sabers, his body even floated in the air. Moreover, these 6 bright silver arm sabers were also quite sharp. The sharpness of each arm saber was not inferior to an extraordinary tier saber arms. Then, Zhou tried to use a few of the Dark Bone King's saber techniques through it. In the end, he realized that it was also very smooth. There was no jerky feeling from the first time he used it. Just as its equipment description said, he could use the 6-armed scythe as long as he wore it. In the time that followed, Zhou kept familiarizing himself with its control method. The more he used it, the more he clicked his tongue. The name 6-armed scythe sounds quite easy. but it's extremely practical for saber men. For a saber master like me, with this 6-armed scythe, I can completely use it and my pair of arms to use 8 saber techniques at the same time when facing the enemy. When the time comes, who can defeat me at the same level? Even if it's Feng Luo, I'm confident that I can exchange 100 moves with him. Zhou Zhou thought. As for defeating Feng Luo, it was impossible. Zun Wu, the hero he had inherited, could comprehend the existence of the hero slot from the vast martial arts. The title of martial emperor lived up to its name. Zhou Zhou naturally did not feel that he could defeat Feng Luo, just because he had obtained the saber technique inheritance and the 6-armed scythe. It usually affects wearing this 6-armed scythe, Zhou Zhou thought. With a thought, the next second, the 6 bright silver arm blades around him immediately shrunk to palm-sized mini tools and stuck to the belt at his lower back. Zhou Zhou had a feeling. As long as he wanted to use the concept of the 6-armed scythe, this 6-armed scythe would immediately be activated, allowing him to become a super saber man who could use 8 saber techniques at the same time. Zhou Zhou nodded in his heart. Then he looked at the next special equipment, Shadowless Wings. It was a bright silver spinal-shaped item. The equipment information appeared. Equipment name, Shadowless Wings. Equipment grade, Special. Equipment effect 1. After wearing this equipment, the user can fly by using it. Moreover, it can erupt with the maximum flying speed of an extraordinary tier. Equipment effect 2, Shadowless Wings. When the user uses this equipment to fly, they will be able to hide in space. In this concealment state, only living beings who can sense the space can discover the user. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up. This special equipment was also a top-grade item. The former could give him flying speed comparable to the limit of the extraordinary tier. The latter could allow him to fly invisibly. This is simply invincible when used to escape. Zhou Zhou lamented. Then, he placed it on his waist without hesitation and began to use it. The next second, his entire body floated up and quickly disappeared into the air. The door of the black ghost suddenly opened extremely abruptly and closed again. A minute later, the black ghost opened and closed the door again. Zhou Zhou's figure appeared and landed on the ground. He flipped his right hand, and a regional token appeared in his hand. It was the regional token of East Demon City. There was a smile on his face. He had just used the flying speed of the Shadowless Wings to quickly walk around East Demon City in front of him and found the territory stone tablet in a short period of time. After using the Destruction Saber Chi to shatter the stone tablet, Zhou Zhou took out the East Demon City regional token inside. Zhou Zhou naturally would not take the white platinum tier intermediate grade territory token. Instead, he chose to occupy it. The war outside was not over yet, but the East Demon City was actually already his. The new wind ceremony can be retired with these Shadowless Wings. Zhou Zhou looked at this special outfit and thought. Zhongli had personally knitted this new wind ceremony and given it to him a long time ago. However, as his strength increased, this shirt gradually could not catch up to the speed at which his strength increased. Even though he could look for Zhongli and ask her to upgrade his clothes, Zhou Zhou had been busy, so he had forgotten about this. Now that he had the Shadowless Wings, he did not have to think about the new wind ceremony anymore. The Shadowless Wings was much faster than the new wind ceremony. Then, Zhou Zhou looked at the regional token in his hand. A text notification appeared. Treasure name, regional token, regional name. East Demon City changeable. Regional grade, white platinum tier. Area. About 35,146 square kilometers. Treasure description. The regional token of the East Demon City. A lord who possesses the regional token and fuses it with the territory stone tablet can become the regional lord of the East Demon City and obtain an exclusive regional treasure chest. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. As expected of a white platinum tier area, it occupied more than 30,000 square kilometers alone. This area was already comparable to the size of some provincial cities in China. He put away the regional token and took out the spatial teleportation skill book. Skill name, spatial teleportation. Skill quality, special. Skill description. After learning it, The user can first sense the existence of the spatial elemental and can control it to teleport within a certain distance. The exact distance depends on the user's strength and understanding of the spatial elemental. Zhou raised his eyebrows and his eyes lit up again. Chapter 320. Zhou's ambition. Previously, he had thought that spatial teleportation was only a normal displacement skill. He did not expect this skill to be able to help people sense the existence of the spatial elemental. This meant that once he mastered this skill, not only could he perform spatial displacement, he could also learn to master the mysteries of the spatial elements. As long as his understanding and application of spatial elementals gradually deepened in the future, not only could he gradually teleport further away, moreover, he might be able to naturally master spatial abilities like spatial sealing, spatial stagnation, and opening space in the future, without the need for the corresponding skill books. Thinking of this, Zhou immediately learned this skill. The skill book in his hand turned into silver light and surged into his glabella. Soon, Zhou sensed the existence of the spatial elementals. It was different from elementals like earth, water, wind, and fire. Professionals with some talent in spellcasting could sense these basic elementals. However, the spatial elemental was completely different. Its existence among the many elementals was extremely obscure. Moreover, because of the characteristics of the spatial elementals, these spatial elementals would sometimes even appear in strange phenomena. It was as if the spatial elemental was teleportation. Even though Zhou could sense the existence of the spatial power, he still needed to focus to discover them teleporting frequently. He sensed for a while before withdrawing from this focused state of observing spatial elementals. If you have nothing to do in the future, observe the movement patterns of these spatial elementals. My understanding of spatial elementals should be able to gradually deepen by observing their movements. Zhou pondered. Then, he did not say anything else. He sat down first and asked Wuxia to bring him a drink. Then, he drank it while watching the live broadcast of the battle. Half an hour later, the battlefield returned to calm. All the enemies of the sickle fog mantis were eliminated. The soldiers began to clean up the battlefield and sent the corpses to the conqueror's blast furnaces to retrieve the loots. Zhou alighted from the spaceship. He had just alighted from the spaceship. He saw a large group of sickle fog mantis walking towards him. Soon, a white platinum tier advanced grade sickle fog mantis boss walked in front of him and crossed his two arm blades on his chest. He said respectfully, "Subordinate Feng In greets my lord. How many companions do you have left? How strong are you?" Zhou looked at the sickle fog mantis behind him and realized that there were at least a third fewer of them than when he had insight defection. His heart sank slightly, but he asked calmly on the surface. After this battle, a total of 11,396 companions survived, including me. Among them are 4,179 black iron tier sickle fog mantis, 4,796 green bronze tier elite sickle fog mantis, 1,536 white silver tier elite sickle fog mantis, 881 yellow gold tier sickle fog mantis bosses, and 4 white platinum tier sickle fog mantis bosses. In addition, 8,672 sickle fog mantis are all combat members of the original East Demon Army. The remaining 2,724 are all professional subjects in East Demon City. Feng In was already prepared for this. He immediately reported respectfully. Zhou heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, most of the people who died were black iron tier sickle fog mantis. Most of the bronze tier and above sickle fog mantis survived. In particular, the 4 white platinum tier sickle fog mantis bosses of insight defection had all survived. Not bad. Take all the sickle fog mantis combat members behind you to look for Ruoji. From now on, join the monster army and serve me. As for the lifestyle profession sickle fog mantis, let them go back to their homes. Zhou made arrangements. Zhou had no intention of bringing these sickle fog mantises that were originally from the East Demon City to Blazing Sun City. After all, their home was here. There was no benefit in moving back and forth. Instead, it was quite troublesome. Since that was the case, Let them stay here and serve him. Thank you, my lord. Feng'an was delighted and said gratefully. Zhou acknowledged. Soon, all the sickle fog mantis looked at Zhou gratefully as his order spread. Zhou looked at this scene as usual. Even though they were still enemies with each other previously, however, he was used to this after using insight defection too many times. He looked at the sickle fog mantises behind Feng'an and was very satisfied. With the addition of these 11,396 sickle fog mantis combat members, the total number of soldiers under his two armies had broken through again, reaching 143,256. They were not far from the 200,000-strong army. A moment later, Zhou, Wuxian, Bai Yun, and the others stood on the city wall of the East Demon City. They looked at the dense buildings in the city wall and thought about the number of buildings in Blazing Sun City. They could not help but sigh. Blazing Sun City was already developing very quickly. However, it was still far inferior to an old city like the East Demon City that had been established for hundreds of years. If all the buildings in this city can be used, they can accommodate at least 1 million citizens. Wuxian sighed. Zhou and Bai nodded in agreement. My lord, what do you plan to do with this city? What do we need to do? Bai Yun asked curiously. This city will naturally be occupied as planned. However, it won't be long before the Taiyan Kingdom finds out that we've occupied their East Demon City. It's a white platinum tier city after all. Even if they have a big business, they definitely won't suffer such a loss. They'll probably send troops over soon. They might even send Scarlet Heroes over. We have to be prepared to face these incoming enemies, Zhou said calmly. With his current strength, it was already enough for him to calmly face the attack of a kingdom. After hearing Zhou's words, while Bai Yun's expression was solemn, she was not afraid at all. Instead, she was eager to give it a try. When Wuxian heard that the Scarlet Hero would appear, he subconsciously touched his wound. But soon his expression became determined. If a Scarlet Hero comes, I hope it's the one who injured me back then. I really want to fight that guy again and see who wins this time, he said calmly. Zhou and Bai Yi could not help but look at Wuxian. In their hearts, Wuxian was rarely moved by external matters. To be able to say those words just now, it could be seen how much damage the Scarlet Hero had done to Wuxian back then. Zhou sighed inwardly. As Wu Zin's disciple, Bai Yin understood very well why teacher Wuxian said these words. After all, if not for the injuries that the Scarlet Hero had caused Wuxian back then, he might still be the great general in the Aurora Kingdom. It was not an exaggeration to say that the Scarlet Hero had shattered the future that Wuxian had thought of back then. The three of them chatted about East Demon City for a while. Then, Zhou thought for a moment and called Feng Luo over. Feng Luo, return to Blazing Sun City through Auguste and bring Jing Hongzi over, he said. Jing Hongzi, he was the white platinum tier advanced grade array master. He had recruited with the Array Master recruitment book. This elder Zhang from the Immortal World's Little Sky Formation sect had been building spatial teleportation arrays for Blazing Sun City and various territories ever since he arrived. Currently, 4 teleportation arrays have been built. Among them, one was built in Blazing Sun City, one in Sand Gold City, and one beside Fish Spring Town. In addition, another was built in Zealer City, the boss of the Ox Demons, on Tuesday. Now that Zhou had called him over, he wanted him to build a spatial teleportation array in East Demon City to transport troops and supplies, so that it would be easier to fight a long battle with the Taiyan Kingdom and prepare for the future attack on the Taiyan Kingdom. From now on, the East Demon City would be his springboard to attack the entire Taiyan Kingdom in the future. He would use this as an official starting point to build his own kingdom on this foreign land. Chapter 321 Human Lord in the Jail. After a while, Zhou and the others saw Feng Luo standing on Auguste's dragon's back and flying into the sky. Finally, he turned into a dark green light spot in the sky and disappeared. At this moment, a soldier suddenly walked over and whispered something to Wuxian. Wuxian was stunned. Then he walked in front of Zhou and said respectfully, My lord, I have something to report. What happened? Zhou asked casually. He was just thinking that he had to go back later. One was to fuse the regional tokens he had obtained today into his territory stone tablet. The second was to convert the Holy Spirit tier scarlet crystals he had obtained today into faith divine crystals. Then, he would go to the Night Temple to discuss resurrecting the hero. The third thing was that Leah was coming back tonight. She would bring back more white platinum tier honorable subjects, and let herself extract diamond tier aurora crystals, to build more diamond tier elementary grade aurora towers. To the current him, every diamond tier elementary grade aurora kingdom tower could be used as his trump card. Zhou naturally had to do such an important matter personally, before he could be at ease. My lord. Just now, a soldier reported that a dungeon was discovered in East Demon City. Many people of foreign races are imprisoned in that dungeon. Moreover, these people of foreign races seem to be lords of all races. Wuxia naturally did not know what Zhou was thinking. He respectfully told his lord what the soldier had just told him. Zhou raised his eyebrows. Bring me there, he said. Yes, my lord. Wuxia nodded. Then, the three of them followed the soldier to the southeast corner of the East Demon City. There were almost no private residences here. Only a black prison, and a few normal buildings scattered here and there. After the three of them entered the prison, they saw that it was completely controlled by the soldiers and guarded everywhere. Greetings, my lord. Hello, my lord. Zhou and the others arrived at a remote prison corridor. Then, he saw life forms of different races lying in the cells on both sides of the corridor. Most of them were covered in injuries, and their clothes were tattered. After hearing footsteps, some did not move at all, and some looked at them. Their gazes were either cold, numb, or filled with hatred. Obviously, they had suffered a lot here. Zhou also looked at them. Then he was shocked to discover that these guys were actually lords of the people of foreign races through this information. He looked at these people of foreign race lords, and realized that most of these people of foreign races had lord talent crystal fragments. However, there was not a single lord with a lord talent. Zhou shook his head. However, he still did not give up, and continued to check as he walked. Along the way, he suddenly saw something and immediately stopped. A deformed human lay in the prison like a corpse. His body was covered in injuries, and some of his internal organs had even fallen out. A stench emitted from the surface of his body. Clearly, he was not far from death. Zhou looked at him. Then, he realized from the information he saw that the other party was actually their cerulean planet's human lord. Open the cell door, Zhou said. When the soldier beside him heard this, he immediately took out a bunch of keys and opened the cell door. Zhou and the others walked in and realized that this person was indeed about to die. Call a life priest over. Tell him to be fast, he said to the soldier who brought them over. Yes. The soldier nodded respectfully and turned to leave quickly. Soon, a young life priest quickly walked over. Greetings, my lord. Tier 4 life priest, Laura is at your service. Laura said respectfully. Tier 4. It meant she was at the yellow gold tier. Zhou glanced at him and realized that she was a yellow gold tier intermediate grade life priest. Heal him. He pointed at the lord of the cerulean planet lying on the ground. It's a human. Laura nodded and came in front of him. She looked at the other party's injuries and raised her eyebrows slightly. Then, she did not say anything and began to use the divine art with the scepter in her hand. After using the limb restoration divine art, the other party's broken arms and legs returned to normal. She then used the life healing technique. The injuries on the other party's body and internal organs had returned to their original state, revealing his intact skin. After the last appeasement, the pain on the other party's face quickly disappeared. Then he slowly opened his eyes. I am not dead, Luochen said blankly. You almost died, but you were saved by my men. A voice suddenly sounded. Luochen stood up with a pale face like a frightened animal. I don't want to go to the animal arena. Spare me, he said in despair. Animal arena? Zhou raised his eyebrows. He looked at Bai Yin. Bai Yin nodded slightly. There is indeed a large animal arena in the east of East Demon City. That's a self-built building. It's useless. It seems to be just an entertainment building facility that the sickle fog mantis prepared to pass the time. Originally, we didn't know what beasts that animal arena used to fight. I didn't expect it to be like this. She whispered. Zhou did not say anything, but his eyes became even colder. When he looked at the human lord again, his expression returned to normal. Luo Chen finally saw the guy standing in front of him. He was not the escort from the animal arena in the past, but a human who looked similar to him. He looked at the other party standing there calmly in disbelief. He did not look like he was in danger at all. At this moment, the other party said something even more unbelievable. Moreover, he spoke in the Cerulean planet's language, the Chinese language of his motherland, that he was most familiar with. Get up. I've already captured this place. You're free. But be careful in the future. It's not like someone will come and save you every time. Zhou extended his right hand. Luo Chen opened his mouth, and his eyes suddenly turned red. He thanked him, and reached out to be helped up by Zhou. When he was helped up, Zhou also used the Master Thief's robbery gloves to extract the 6 black Iron Tier Lord talent crystal fragments from the other party's body. This could be considered his repayment for saving him. At this moment Luo Chen stood up. He looked at his body in surprise. He clearly remembered that his limbs had been shattered by a lord of the people of foreign race before he fainted, and his body was also in ruins. Why did his injuries heal, and even his shattered limbs return to normal when he woke up? He could not help but look at Zhou. Could this be the method of this human lord in front of him? He looked normal and not surprised at all. That should be the case. Thinking of this, Luo Chen became even more curious about the identity of the person in front of him. Excuse me, can you tell me your name? Luo Chen asked nervously. Just call me the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Zhou said. Lord of the Blazing Sun. You're the strongest lord of our Cerulean planet's human race? Luo Chen's eyes widened as he asked in surprise. Zhou smiled and nodded. He was indeed qualified to call himself the strongest lord on the Cerulean planet, in terms of ranking alone in the lord battlefield. His battle results were real after all. Luo Chen looked a little excited. He had only heard of the Lord of the Blazing Sun on the World Channel in the past. Occasionally, he would buy some soldier-type class change certificates from his dealings. At that time, he felt that the Lord of the Blazing Sun was really powerful. He did not expect them to meet in reality. However, the scene was a little awkward. This prison was really not a good scene to meet. Zhou noticed the expression on his face. Let's go out and talk. He smiled. Okay. Luo Chen looked at Zhou gratefully. Then the two of them, Bai Yun and Wu Xian, walked out of the prison. Chapter 322 Mythical Tier Lord Talent. It's finally out. Luo Chen looked at the sun outside, and was so excited that his body trembled. He had come out before. It was just forcefully dragged out by the sickle fog mantis of the animal arena. Then he would return half dead. At that time, his greatest fear was to leave this prison. Even though he had also walked out of the prison, and he was free now, this feeling was naturally completely different from then. How did you get captured here? At this moment Zhou's voice sounded. Luo Chen immediately came back to his senses. Big Boss Blazing Sunday. I was originally a lord in Green Forest. In the end, about 6 days ago, a group of red-eyed blood wasps suddenly appeared at the entrance of my territory. They destroyed my territory and killed all my subjects. They even brought me to this place, and took pleasure in watching me fight the lords of other races. If Big Boss Blazing Sun hadn't appeared in time, I'm afraid I would have died in this prison. Even though Luo Chen had already been saved by Zhou, however, fear still appeared on his face when he recalled his past memories. Zhou nodded. So it was the people of the Taiyan Kingdom who took the initiative to look for him. At this moment, he was extremely glad that his initial territory was only a Black Iron Tier regional territory. Moreover, this Black Iron Tier regional territory was close to a human kingdom like the Aurora Kingdom. Otherwise, if the territory where the initial territory was actually close to a Crimson Kingdom like Luo Chen, even if he had the legendary Tier Lord talent, survival would probably be quite difficult. not to mention reaching his current achievement. However, he was a little puzzled. How could the red-eyed blood wasp bring lords like Luo Chun and the others here? After that, Zhou understood what had happened as Luo Chun continued to tell him. So, not just Red Wasp Town. All the regional territories near East Demon City had been ordered by the Lord East Demon to destroy the lords of the territories around the Taiyan Kingdom and bring them back to fill the vacancies in the animal arena. This was how the lords of the people of foreign races, including Luo Chun, came about. Zhou frowned slightly. According to the Supreme Agreement, kingdom level and above factions in the High Continent could not take the initiative to harm the lords of all races who had just arrived in the High Continent. Unless the lords of all races had a death wish to provoke kingdom level and above forces, they could not attack. However, the East Demon City could actually send troops to surround them and even capture captives for fun. There were only two possibilities for this situation. First, the kingdom level and above factions mentioned in the Supreme will only included the factions favored by the Supreme will. The Lord faction favored by the Crimson Overlord was not within this restriction. Secondly, all of this was the spontaneous actions of the East Demon. It had nothing to do with the Taiyan Kingdom, so it could do such a thing. Zhou did not hesitate and tried to ask the Supreme which of his two guesses was right. The next second, a line of text appeared in front of Zhou. Supreme will notification. The Crimson Overlord has also acknowledged the existence of the Supreme Agreement. The Supreme will did not answer directly. However, Zhou also understood. The Crimson Overlord would not casually break the agreement. Even though kingdom level and above forces would not take the initiative to attack these lords of all races, however, if their subordinates had their own thoughts, this Supreme Agreement probably could not interfere. Zhou frowned slightly. In that case, that would really be disadvantageous to lords of all races like them. After pondering for a while, Zhou did not think too much about it. No matter what kind of danger he faced, it would not be wrong to develop his territory with all his might. When the time came, he would deal with whatever came his way. What are your plans next? Zhou looked at Luo Chun. Big Boss Blazing Sun, can you take me in? My territory has been destroyed, and I can't return to the Cerulean planet. I'm already homeless. Luo Chun said gloomily. Sure. Then from today onwards, you are a subject of Blazing Sun City. When we return, the officials of Blazing Sun City will arrange a specific place for you to live and work. As for what you want to do in the future, it depends on you. Zhou agreed without hesitation. Such a small matter did not cost him much effort. Thank you, Big Boss Blazing Sun. I knew that you were a good person from the moment you sold those soldier-type class change certificates. Luo Chun said gratefully. It's nothing. You and I are compatriots. Zhou smiled. As long as there was no competition, he was naturally willing to take care of his fellow Cerulean planet citizens. After that, the two of them chatted for a while before Luo Chun was taken away by the other soldiers. He would follow this soldier back to Blazing Sun City and begin his new life. Zhou returned to the prison again and continued to check if there were any lord talents in these lords' bodies. In the end, after checking more than 200 people of foreign races, he actually did not find any lord talent. Even though he was already prepared, he still felt a little helpless in the face of such a thing. Zhou did not say anything on the surface. He only continued to look at the remaining people of foreign race lords. At this moment, he came to the prison of a people of foreign race lord. This was a separate prison, and the arrangements inside were relatively clean and tidy compared to the other prisons. There was a monster more than 3 meters tall inside. Its surface was covered in green scales, and there were rows of ferocious sharp teeth in its mouth. There was a single horn raised to the sky on its head. It was different from the other numb and terrified lords of the people of foreign races. This guy did not show much fear other than vigilance when he saw him. Zhou looked at it curiously. Then he looked at its interface information. Then his eyes immediately widened. This. He looked a little shocked, but he was more surprised. Name, Roussel. Class, Adventurer, Strength Level, White Silver Tier Advanced Grade Race, Demon Horn Crocodile Race. Introduction. He was once a lord of the Demon Horn Crocodile race. Later, his territory was destroyed by the sweeping East Demon Army, and he became an adventurer. Loot drop rate. 8 white silver tier mist cores drop rate. 100%. 1 white silver tier advanced grade skill book continuous 9-star arrow. Drop rate. 10%. 1 white silver tier advanced grade skill book shield bash. Drop rate. 8%. 1 white silver tier advanced grade skill book summon firebird. Drop rate. 5%. 1 white silver tier advanced grade skill book landslide. Drop rate. 3%. 1 mythical tier lord talent sphere. Drop rate. 0%. 1 mythical tier lord talent crystal fragment. Drop rate. 0%. Zhou took a deep breath and sized up the fellow in front of him again. This guy was actually a mythical tier lord talent holder. Normally speaking, there was no natural mythical tier lord talent holder among lords. The highest was a natural legendary tier lord talent holder. Zhou only knew of one method to upgrade the owner of the legendary tier lord talent to the mythical tier lord talent. That was to become the strongest novice lord in the novice lord test and obtain the mythical tier lord talent promotion origin crystal. Only then could he use it to upgrade his legendary tier lord talent and become a mythical tier lord talent. This was where his king of loots came from, which meant this adventurer called Roussel in front of him was once the strongest lord of their Demon Horn Crocodile race. Thinking of this, Zhou looked at him strangely. Chapter 323 Fog Spirit Race. The second Lord Talent Sphere. Zhou had fought a lord with the mythical tier, the only lord talent. For example, the Machina race's Lord Father, the extreme venerable of the extreme dragon race, and some of the stronger people of foreign races, lords he had encountered when upgrading the Lord battlefield. Perhaps it was because his Lord talent was stronger, but even though these lords also had the mythical tier unique Lord talent, they could not defeat him. However, even though he had encountered many of the strongest lords of the people of foreign races on the Lord battlefield, and had come into contact with their mythical tier, the unique Lord talent, this was the first time he had come into contact with it in reality. Zhou looked at the other party's dismal expression and could not help but shake his head. Different people had different lives. They were both mythical tier, the owners of the unique Lord talent. He could be said to be developing very well now, but the other party was living like this. He had even lost his status as a lord. In comparison, his luck was really good. At the same time, the Demon Horn Crocodile race Roussel was still looking at Zhou warily. He was powerful and had performed very well in the animal arena, so the cells he arranged were much cleaner and neater than the cells of the other prisoners. Moreover, he did not encounter any special treatment and did not have any injuries on his body. He was just a little weak. During the animal arena, he had seen many big shots of the East Demon City. Even the city lord of the East Demon City had seen him personally a few times. But even so, he had never seen this life form in front of him before. He wanted to see the other party's information, but because of the existence of the void mask, no information appeared. This made Zhou's identity even more mysterious in his eyes. However, one thing was certain: the other party was not a fog creature, and was a lord of all races. This could be seen from the fact that the other party's eyes had not turned scarlet. "May I ask who you are?" he said carefully in the common language of the High Continent. Roussel observed the other party's completely different form from the sickle fog mantis as he asked. He suddenly had an idea that he was not sure about. Could it be that East Demon City had been occupied by the other party? Otherwise, how could a lord of all races like him stand there so naturally? Thinking of this, Roussel's expression did not change, but killing intent arose in his heart. He had once used his previous strongest lord talent to possess many combat skills. If he could control the lord of all races in front of him, he might be able to escape from this godforsaken place. At that time, even if he lost his status as a lord, he would not be a nameless person. However, he was very weak now. There would only be one chance to succeed. He had to succeed in one go. "Me. I'm the lord here." Zhou narrowed his eyes slightly and said as usual, The moment the other party's killing intent appeared, he sensed it with the powerful sixth senses of the chaos human bloodline. The other party probably thought that he did not know anything. Isn't this the territory of the East Demon City Lord? Roussel asked curiously. At the same time, he seemed to have involuntarily moved closer to Zhou because of his curiosity. All of a sudden, he exploded and pounced on Zhou at an astonishing speed. His expression was ferocious, and his eyes were bloodshot. Clearly, he wanted to succeed in one strike. But in the next second, spatial teleportation, Zhou's figure suddenly disappeared and arrived behind Roussel, causing him to miss. Roussel was stunned on the spot. He turned to look at Zhou with a look of disbelief. That was spatial teleportation. Wasn't that the ultimate skill that made the city lord of the East Demon City famous? Why did he know it too? Before he could think further, a monstrous hero pressure came from both sides, making him unable to move. They were Bai Yin and Wuxia. At this moment they glared at Roussel. They did not expect this guy to launch a sneak attack on their lord in front of them. Fortunately, the lord avoided it. Otherwise, the two of them would not be able to absolve themselves of the blame if anything happened. After the two of them took down Roussel, who had a blank expression on his face, Bai Yin and Wuxia escorted him to Zhou and said shamefully, "I'm guilty for causing my lord to be in danger." What danger can a white silver tier advance grade little guy be in? If not for the fact that I can't be bothered to do anything, I could easily deal with this guy myself. Zhou shook his head nonchalantly. He had yellow gold tier elementary grade skills, and many life-saving abilities after all. Facing a white silver tier advanced grade lord of the people of foreign race, whose skills he had seen through, it could be said that he was not in danger at all. This could be seen from the warning that his powerful sixth senses had not sent him, that he was in danger. This foreign race lord who had once grasped the mythical tier, the only lord talent, was indeed quite strong among opponents of the same level. But he was stronger, and it was not just a little stronger. Even though Bai Yin and Wuxia heaved a sigh of relief, they were still filled with guilt. Zhou did not care what the two of them were thinking, and continued to look at the other people of foreign race lords. In the end, he really saw a second lord with a lord talent. The other party's entire body was in the form of white fog, gathering and dissipating formlessly. It looked quite strange. However, the cell where the other party was imprisoned was clearly specially designed for it. No matter how the other party wanted to crawl out through the crack of the cell door, as soon as he came into contact with it, he saw a blood-colored light flash past the cell door. The other party seemed to have been electrocuted and retreated repeatedly. The corner he was in looked like a marshmallow. Zhou looked at the other party's message. Name, Team Star, Combat Class Name, Mist Elemental Mage, Strength Level, White Silver Tier Elementary Grade, Race, Fog Spirit Race, Introduction. He was once a lord of the Fog Spirit Race. Later, his territory was destroyed by the sweeping East Demon Army. He became a Fog Elemental Mage, with an Elemental Mage Class Change Certificate. Loot's Drop Rate. 2 White Silver Tier Mist Cores Drop Rate. 100%. 1 Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Skill Book Cloud Technique, Drop Rate. 10%. 1 White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Skill Book, Water Wave Technique, Drop Rate. 8%. 1 Gradeless Elemental Mage Class Change Certificate, Drop Rate. 5%. 1 Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Race Talent Sphere Drop Rate. 0.0001%. 1 Black Iron Tier Lord Talent Sphere. Drop Rate. 0%. 3 Black Iron Tier Lord Talent Crystal. Fragments Drop Rate. 0%. There's actually a racial skill book and a racial talent sphere? Zhou was a little surprised. He had seen more than 200 lords of foreign races just now. However, they were all like normal races. They did not have racial skills or racial talents. Even the lord of the Demon Horn Crocodile race, Roussel, who had the mythical tier lord talent, did not have these two things. It could be seen how rare racial skills and racial talents were. Zhou nodded slightly and noted down this fellow's location. Then he continued to look at the cells of the other people of foreign race lords. Chapter 324 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent. Fighting God Full-Time Master 2. A moment later, Zhou finally finished reading the loots of all the people of foreign race lords. There were a total of 317 people of foreign race lords. Among them, only Roussel of the Demon Horn Crocodile race and the Fog Spirit race had lord talents. The others were all lords without lord talents. Get rid of them all. Then bring me the corpses of the Demon Horn Crocodile Lord and the Fog Spirit Lord. Zhou instructed Bai Yin. Yes, my lord. Bai Yin nodded. When Zhou saw this, he looked at the people of foreign race lords calmly one last time before walking out of the prison. Soon, the screams of these people of foreign race lords came from behind him. Zhou's back was facing the prison. His expression did not change at all when he heard the voice. His pity was only effective on lords of the same race, or lords who were on good terms with him. As for these people of foreign race lords, those who are not of our race will definitely have different intentions. Zhou agreed with this sentence. Therefore, he would not pity them if he did not recruit them into the territory, and was affected by the peace and prosperity lord talent. Be good and become my lord talent sphere, and lord talent crystal fragment. A moment later, the cell behind him gradually fell silent. Soon, Bai Yin and Wu Exan brought the two corpses to Zhou. They were the corpses of Roussel of the Demon Horn Crocodile race and the Fog Spirit race. Roussel's eyes widened with shock and anger. The cluster star also turned into a motionless cloud. They never expected this. He thought that even though his previous life was like hell, at least there was life to live. However, if another lord of the people of foreign race came over, he would actually kill them all. Zhou nodded slightly. After the two of them left to deal with the corpses of the other lords, Zhou walked in front of the two corpses and placed his hand on the Fog Spirit race. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent Notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord Talent Notification. You have obtained Perfect Loots, 2 yellow gold tier mist cores, 1 white silver tier intermediate grade skill book, Great Mist Technique, 1 yellow gold tier elementary grade skill book, Furious Wave Technique, 1 gradeless elemental mage class change certificate, drop rate 5%, 1 extraordinary tier elementary grade race talent sphere, 1 green bronze tier lord talent sphere, 3 bronze tier lord talent crystal fragments. Zhou began to check the loots. There was naturally no need to mention the mist cores and the green bronze tier lord talent crystal fragment. Among them, the Great Mist Technique was a spell that could summon a large amount of fog to form a maze-like fog environment to trap the enemy. The Furious Wave Technique was a pure water element attack spell. The Elemental Mage Class Change Certificate was a high-level combat class certificate. After Zhou had the Violent Storm Spirits Class Change Certificate, his standards had become a little higher. He no longer looked up to class change certificates of this level, not to mention that there was only one. There was no way to nurture it through the Monster Ranch. Therefore, Zhou was not interested in it, and casually put it away. Then, he looked at the green bronze tier Lord Talent Sphere expectantly. Treasure name, Lord Talent Sphere. Fighting God Full-Time Master 2. Treasure grade, green bronze tier, treasure effect. After absorbing it, the Lord will have the green bronze tier Lord Talent. Fighting God Full-Time Master 2. Treasure description. A Lord Talent Sphere purified by the Supreme Will. After absorbing it, you can obtain a green bronze tier Lord Talent. Fighting God Full-Time Master 2? Zhou thought for a while and stopped thinking about it. He chose to absorb it. The next second, the text notification appeared again. Do you want to absorb this Lord Talent Sphere? Yes, Zhou said. The next second, this green bronze tier Lord Talent Sphere immediately turned into countless bronze-colored light spots and surged into his glabella. Zhou closed his eyes. A moment later, he reopened his eyes again after some time. At this moment, Zhou had a strange feeling. He looked at his body and felt that some restriction or shackles on his body had been unleashed at that moment. This should be the effect of the Lord Talent, right? Zhou thought as he opened the Lord's personal information. His Lord Talent column had already been updated. My 15th Lord Talent. Zhou nodded slightly. Then he looked at the details of the talent. Lord Talent. Fighting God Full-Time Master 2. Specific talent effect. You can have 2 additional combat class. Combat God hint. Once an additional class is chosen, it cannot be changed. Zhou was slightly surprised after reading it. Normal professionals could only have 1 combat class at most. He could take on many class roles. He did not expect this Lord Talent to be able to break through the restrictions of this combat-oriented class and give professionals 2 additional combat classes. In addition to the original combat class, martial artist, wouldn't I be able to have 3 combat class at the same time? Zhou immediately thought about which class was suitable for him and became really vexed. With a kingdom-level combat class like the Violent Storm Spirit in front of him, Zhou really could not think of a better combat class to take on. However, Zhou was really unwilling to choose the Violent Storm Spirit because he wouldn't be able to regret it if he encountered Empire-level battles against class, or even Divine Kingdom-level battles in the future. After thinking for a long time, he decided to put it aside for the time being. In any case, there was no hurry. He would find a suitable one in the future. Then, Zhou's gaze landed on this neighboring talent again. He thought for a moment and speculated. A Bronze Tier Fighting God Full-Time Master 2 can have 2 additional combat classes. What about higher level ones? White Silver Tier should be the Fighting God Full-Time Master 3. Yellow Gold Tier should be the Fighting God Full-Time Master V. Then the Mythical Tier should be Fighting God Full-Time Master X. If it really follows this pattern, wouldn't one person be able to have 11 combat classes at the same time? Thinking of this, Zhou took a deep breath. No wonder it was called the Fighting God. If he could master all 11 top combat class abilities, it would not be an exaggeration to call him the Fighting God. Zhou thought for a while before extracting another corpse. It was the corpse with the Mythical Tier with the unique Lord Talent. The Mythical Tier Lord Talent is already high enough. Is there a Lord Talent stronger than the Mythical Tier Lord Talent? Zhou was really looking forward to it. Chapter 325 Mythical Tier. Unique Lord Talent Lord Shop. Zhou began to retrieve Roussel's loot. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord Talent notification. You have obtained Perfect Loots, 10 Yellow Gold Tier Mist Cores, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Rainform Archery Skill Book, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Earth Shield Bash, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Fire Fist Dao, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Summoning Demon Flame Sparrow, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Earth Collapse, 1 Mythical Tier Advanced Grade Unique Lord Talent Sphere, 1 Mythical Tier Advanced Grade Lord Talent Fragment. Zhou looked at the Mythical Tier Unique Lord Talent Sphere that had not changed at all, and a look of helplessness flashed across his eyes. Looks like the Mythical Tier is indeed the highest level. I can't increase quality by another level. Zhou quickly composed himself. Even though it could not be increased, it was also a Mythical Tier, the only Lord Talent with real value. He had already obtained a huge opportunity. Zhou did not look at the other loots, and looked directly at the Mythical Tier Unique Lord Talent Sphere. Treasure Name, Lord Talent Sphere, Lord Shop. Treasure Grade, Mythical Tier Unique, Treasure Effect. After absorbing it, the Lord will have the Mythical Tier Unique Lord Talent Lord Shop. Treasure Description. A Lord Talent Sphere purified by the Supreme Will. After absorbing it, you can obtain a Mythical Tier Unique Lord Talent. Lord Shop. Zhou raised his eyebrows and chose to absorb it without thinking too much. The next second, the text notification appeared again. Do you want to absorb this Lord Talent Sphere, Mythical Tier, Unique? Yes, Zhou said. The next second, this Mythical Tier Lord Talent Sphere immediately turned into countless 7-colored light spots and surged into his glabella. Zhou closed his eyes. A moment later, he reopened his eyes again after some time. Then, he immediately looked at the details of the talent expectantly. Lord Talent, Lord Shop, Mythical Tier, Unique. Specific Talent Effect. Your territory has a Lord Shop that belongs solely to you. This Lord Shop will randomly refresh 2 to 3 goods every day. The range of the goods includes abilities, talents, bloodlines, equipment, and everything else owned by the territory subjects. You can choose to spend Miss Cores and territory tokens to buy them. Zhou's eyes widened after reading it. Which meant, if his subjects had any abilities, he had a chance of exchanging for any abilities from this Lord Shop. Zhou thought of the dead Roussel. No wonder that guy's skills were mixed. So it was bought from the Lord Shop. He thought for a while more, then became more and more excited. In that case, could he exchange for Nazario's various super abilities through this Lord Shop? Regarding the abilities that Nazario had mastered, Zhou had been coveting it for a long time. Especially the other party's epic tier elemental immunity and epic tier physical immunity. Zhou had long envied the other party for having such a thick-skinned skill. As for the other party's divine dragon of destruction bloodline, Zhou was not very interested. His chaos human bloodline might not be much inferior to its divine dragon of destruction bloodline. It might even have higher growth potential. In my territory? Zhou thought for a while, and decided to go back later. Bai Yin and the others were sorting out the overall gains today. It would not be too late to go back after they finished summarizing. Then he looked at the other loots. He first looked at the extraordinary tier elementary grade talent sphere of the fog spirit race. Just now, he could not help but want to see the effect of the Lord Talent Sphere first, so he ignored it. Treasure name, Race Talent Sphere, Fog Spirit Body, Treasure Grade, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade, Treasure Effect. After using it, you can have the ability to transform into a Fog Spirit Body. In the state of the Fog Spirit, your aura will completely disappear. Other life forms will only feel that the white fog is ordinary. At the same time, any physical attack that cannot reach the level of obliteration will not cause any damage to life forms in the state of the Fog Spirit Body. Treasure description: the racial talent of the Fog Spirit. After using it, you will possess the racial talent of this race. This talent is not bad. Zhou nodded slightly. It was needless to say that it was an excellent obscure ability to make one's aura completely useless. In addition, physical attacks at the obliteration level were also very difficult to achieve. Typically, only extraordinary tier, or even epic tier experts could unleash destructive physical attacks. This skill was definitely a divine skill for him, at this stage in front of some enemies. However, its ability was also very flawed. That was, it could only defend against physical attacks, and not elemental attacks. This could be seen from the fact that it was trapped in the cell, and could not come out. It was restrained too tragically by the prison door, made of elemental attack methods. Other than the experts who specialized in physics skills, a slightly stronger extraordinary tier would take the initiative to master 1 or 2 elemental skills to make up for their shortcomings in attack methods. But even so, Zhou did not hesitate and chose to learn it. In any case, it would be a waste not to learn. After learning it, he willed. The next second, his entire body quickly turned white and transparent. Soon, he collapsed into a large amount of white fog that enveloped a radius of 100 meters. The wind blew gently. The white fog floated higher and higher into the sky with the wind. After flying 100 meters high, Zhou restored his main body and activated his shadowless wings to fly back to the ground. Putting aside whether or not the skill is useful or not, it's pretty fun. Zhou's eyes were filled with novelty. Then he looked at Roussel's other loots. Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill, Rainform Archery. Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill, Earth Shield Bash. Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill, Fire Fist Dao. Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill, Summoning Demon Flame Sparrow. Other than that, there were also more than 10 yellow gold tier skills. They were all pure attack skills. In addition, their grades were relatively high, so Zhou only glanced at their attack effect before putting them away. He could learn it when his strength increased to yellow gold tier advanced grade in the future. With the white platinum tier blessing of the war god, this time would not be long. A moment later, Bai Yin brought a summary list to Zhou and handed it to him. Zhou took it and immediately read it. Today, they have conquered a total of 19 regional territories. Among them, there were 7 black iron tier regional territories, 7 green bronze tier regional territories, and 3 white silver tier regional territories, 1 yellow gold tier regional territory, and 1 white platinum tier regional territory. They had eliminated more than 200,000 sickle fog mantises in the white platinum tier territory East Demon City alone. In addition to the 50,000 red-eyed blood wasps in Red Wasp Town and the fog monsters in the other 17 regional territories, they had eliminated a total of more than 310,000 fog monsters. With the enhancement of the title of the King of Loots and the Strongest Lord, there were a total 60 Extraordinary Tier, 240 Diamond Tier, 102,367 White Platinum Tier, 629,873 Yellow Gold Tier, 904,628 White Silver Tier, 168,796 Green Bronze Tier Mist Cores, 364 Origin Crystals. There were 625,239 skill books and 756,932 equipment. More than 690 million units of basic materials. 316,902 True Faith Tier Scarlet Crystals, 162,978 Pious Tier Scarlet Crystals, 36,912 Fanatic Tier Scarlet Crystals, 1 Holy Spirit Tier Scarlet Crystal, 22 Alchemy Pharmacist Recruitment Books, 16 Alchemy Technician Recruitment Books, 32 Mount Contracts, 16 Intermediate Grade Combat Class, Thunder Knight Class Certificate, 2 Advanced Combat Class Wind and Rain Knight Class Certificate, 702 Green Bronze Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, 2 White Silver Tier Territory Tokens, 15 Green Bronze Tier Territory Tokens, 99 Black Iron Tier Territory Tokens, 1 White Platinum Tier Territory Token, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Regional Token, 3 White Silver Tier Regional Tokens, 7 Green Bronze Tier Regional Territories, 7 Black Iron Tier Regional Tokens. Then he looked at the improvement of the soldiers. Chapter 326 Lord Announcement. Void Detection Technique. A total of 102,466 people had broken through after killing more than 310,000 fog monsters in a day. Among them, 42,396 had advanced to the Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade and Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. 30,238 people advanced from Black Iron Tier to Green Bronze Tier. 22,156 people advanced to the White Silver Tier. 15,031 people advanced to Yellow Gold Tier. 2,645 people had broken through to the White Platinum Tier. In addition, Bai Yin had broken through to the White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Soul Reaper Maris had broken through to the Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. Spectral Dragon Auguste had broken through to the Yellow Gold Tier Intermediate Grade. Zhou looked quite satisfied after reading the breakthrough list. As expected of the White Platinum Tier Lord Talent, Blessing of the War God. With this Lord Talent, even though they seem to have only eliminated more than 310,000 fog monsters, in fact, it was equivalent to 51 million fog monsters. After obtaining promotion energy equivalent to 51 million fog monsters, it was very normal for their strength to break through to this level collectively. Then, Zhou looked at the summary of the strength of the soldiers at the bottom of the loot list. Now he had a total of 143,256 soldiers from the Blazing Sun Army and the Monster Army under his command. Among them were 46,057 Black Iron Tier soldiers. There were 54,782 Bronze Tier soldiers, 23,692 White Silver Tier. There were 15,912 Yellow Gold Tier. There were 2,813 White Platinum Tier. When Zhou saw this, he could not help but smile. After destroying so many fog monsters, the overall strength of his soldiers had increased several times, especially the white platinum tier soldiers, which directly increased from 164 to 2,816. The white platinum tier blessing of the 10 gods, the blessing of the war god, was really too strong. With so many white platinum tier soldiers around, it would probably not be long before would give birth to the first diamond tier expert among his soldiers. After that, he first changed the name of East Demon City to Kingdom Beginning City. The meaning was very simple. This would be the starting point of his kingdom establishment. Then he told Bai Yun and the others to guard Kingdom Beginning City and guard against the attack of the Taiyan Kingdom that might appear at any time. Then, he returned to Blazing Sun City. Through Return to the City, Blazing Sun City, in the Lord Manor, Zhou Zhou took out the 19 regional tokens he had obtained today and fused them into his territory stone tablet. The total number of regional territories under his command had reached 35 after all of them fused. Zhou Zhou waited for a moment. A familiar Lord announcement appeared on the entire channel. Cerulean Planet World Channel Lord announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, becoming the first regional lord to officially own 30 regional territories. Reward: Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Reputation Rating +1. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. A Lord announcement can really appear on the entire channel with 30 regional territories. Then what's the next time? 50, 80, or 100? Zhou Zhou guessed in his heart. He opened the World Channel. Not surprisingly, the lords on the World Channel were all discussing the number of his territories. The Lord of the Blazing Sun was developing too quickly. It was so fast that it was unbelievable. After that, he looked at the Supreme Treasure Chest that had appeared out of thin air in front of him. He opened it and found a skill book inside. Zhou Zhou picked it up and looked at it. Skill name: Void Detection Technique. Skill quality: Special. Skill description: Through this detection technique, you will not be discovered by other life forms. There is also a certain chance of seeing through the hidden information on the other party. Void Detection Technique? It's actually such a skill. Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. He looked at the information of this skill and immediately remembered that he had peeked at Big Boss by his specific information at the Night Temple last time. In the end, he was discovered by the King of Abyssal Knights and even kindly reminded him not to casually check the information of experts. If he had this skill back then, perhaps he would not have been discovered when he first obtained the other party's information. Not to mention that this skill had a certain chance of seeing through the other party's hidden information. Good skill, Zhou Zhou immediately learned. Then, he went next door and looked at Aaliyah and the Atli sisters. Zhou Zhou did not bring the two sisters to the battlefield because their strength was average. Instead, he stayed in the manor and was in charge of helping him deal with daily matters. My lord, the two sisters stood up and said respectfully. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Then he looked at Atli's message, but there was nothing hidden in her message. Then he looked at Aaliyah's message. Subject: Aaliyah. Territory: Blazing Sun City. Combat class name: Martial Artist class, White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. Ability overview: a member of the Catman race, a martial artist. She is now the maid of the Lord of Blazing Sun City. She is in charge of the Lord of the Blazing Sun's daily life and assists in daily matters. Skills: White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Martial Arts Manual, Earth Splitting Claw Technique, Yellow Gold Tier Intermediate Grade Martial Arts Manual, 7-Star Steps, Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade Martial Arts Manual, Mystic Essence Shield, Green Bronze Tier Advanced Grade Martial Arts Manual, Gus Blade, Loyalty, 100 Dead Loyal? Potential, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Obstruction Information 1, Aaliyah likes her lord. Obstruction Information 2, Aaliyah likes Wind Stats Martial Arts Manuals. Zhou Zhou. He looked at Aaliyah. Right. You're actually craving my body. Zhou Zhou shook his head in his heart and did not mind. He did not want to think about romance now. Go find a special shopping center in the territory. You might not be allowed to enter that special mall, but it's fine. Just tell me when you find it. Zhou said to them. Yes, my lord. When the Catgirl sisters heard this, they immediately accepted the order and left the room. Zhou also returned to his room. He took out the 19 regional treasure chests. Among them were 7 black iron tier region treasure chests, 7 green bronze tier region treasure chests, 3 white silver tier region treasure chests, 1 yellow gold tier region treasure chest, and 1 white platinum tier region treasure chest. Zhou opened them one by one. Among them, the black iron tier, green bronze tier, and white silver tier regional treasure chests opened 6 black iron tier regional exclusive resource packs, 5 green bronze tier regional exclusive resource packs, and 1 white silver tier regional exclusive resource pack. There was also 1 black iron tier, 2 green bronze tier, and 2 white silver tier. A white platinum tier intermediate grade red-eyed blood wasp lord pet egg appeared in the yellow gold tier regional treasure chest. After hatching, he could directly obtain a white platinum tier intermediate grade red-eyed blood wasp lord pet. Zhou immediately thought of the red-eyed blood beehive in Red Wasp Town. There was no lord leading and protecting the red-eyed blood wasp younglings there. After it hatched, he could arrange it there. As for the white platinum tier regional treasure chest, it directly gave him 100 special equipment, shadowless wings. Zhou was overjoyed. There was finally something good. If this shadowless wings was arranged for Wu Tu's heavenly army, he would be able to come and go without a trace to investigate the enemy in the future. It could be said to be like adding wings to a tiger. At this moment, my lord, we're back. X2 the voices of Aaliyah and Atli came from outside. Zhou was a little surprised and immediately called them in. My lord, we've already found the shopping center you mentioned. Aaliyah reported. You found it so quickly? Zhou said in surprise. Because it's beside the lord's manor. That's why we saw it as soon as we walked out of the manor. Atli explained with a smile. So close. Then bring me there. Zhou immediately said. Yes, my lord. X2 then. The 3 of them did not waste any more time. They walked out of the lord manor and walked towards the lord's shop. Chapter 327 3 Goods 1. The 3 of them soon arrived at a building. Still, this is the lord's shop? Zhou looked at the building blankly. This building was only 4 to 5 meters tall, and was only 7 to 8 meters long and wide. It looked less than the size of a roadside shop, and could not be seen at all. At this moment, in a seat in the lord's shop, a middle-aged old man with a little bald head, reading glasses, and a thin black sweater, seemed to have sensed the guest's arrival. He put down the needlework in his hand, and stroked his reading glasses. Then he stood up, and went to the black counter at the entrance of the shop. He looked at Zhou, who was among the 3 of them. Greetings, my lord. He chuckled. Are you the boss here? Zhou asked. That's right. I'm the owner of this lord's shop. My name is Zhou Qingmin. My lord, you can call me Old Zhou. Zhou Qingmin smiled. Zhou nodded. Then, he let the 2 sisters return to the lord manor, before coming to the opposite side. I want to see my goods today. He went straight to the point. Zhou Qingmin smiled and nodded. Then, he took out 3 boxes from the counter below, and opened them one by one. The first box contained a golden heart, and the faint roar of a dragon came from inside. There was a purple jade in the second box, and a skill book in the third box. Zhou looked over. The first golden heart came from Wu Xin's Epic Tier Advanced Grade Golden Dragon Bloodline. Bloodline name: Golden Dragon Bloodline. Bloodline level: Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Bloodline effect: the user can obtain an Epic Tier Advanced Grade Bloodline, Golden Dragon Bloodline. After absorbing it, the user will gradually awaken some Golden Dragon race abilities during their growth after fusing with this bloodline. The second purple crystal came from Xiaoxian's top talent, Celestial Appearance. Talent: Celestial Appearance. Talent effect: a life form with celestial appearance has an extraordinary charm. When life forms of any race see a living being with celestial appearance, they will see a beauty that suits their aesthetic standards. The third was Nazario's most lethal single-target dragon magic, Blazing Explosion. Skill name, Blazing Explosion, skill quality. Enhanceable, skill description. Extremely condensed fire elemental power, forming an extremely lethal and penetrating elemental fire pillar. Then, it is released and instantly destroys anything in the path of the elemental fire pillar. Zhou eyes widened as he looked at the three goods. Good God. None of the goods were given for free. He thought that some very trashy goods might randomly respawn. He did not expect it to be so awesome and exciting. Was this the mythical tier, unique lord talent? Are all the goods randomly refreshed every day like this? Zhou could not help but ask. Our shop has just opened today, so the probability of randomly obtaining desirable goods today has been slightly increased. Not in the future. Zhou Qingmen shook his head. Zhou was immediately disappointed, but in the next second, Zhou Qingmen changed the topic. Still, this shopping mall is here to assist the Lord to become the strongest Lord. Therefore, no matter how bad the randomly refreshed goods are, at least one good that is useful to the Lord will appear. Therefore, my Lord, you don't have to worry. All the goods that appear are useless goods. Zhou nodded. This was the mythical tier unique Lord talent. Then what's the price of these three goods? He asked. The Golden Dragon Bloodline is worth 10 epic tier mist cores and 1 epic tier territory token. Talent, Celestial Appearance is a top-notch talent. As for Blazing Explosion, even though its potential is astonishing, its growth period is too long after all. It doesn't have much combat strength in the short term. Therefore, it's only worth 10 Diamond Tier Mist Cores and 1 Diamond Tier Territory Token. Zhou. He looked at the other party's responsible and slightly smiling face and wanted to ask, how can I exchange for any of these goods? The prices are too ridiculous. Especially Xiao Xian's Celestial Appearance. This talent was indeed top-notch. But wasn't it just an appearance talent? What was he thinking? That it was worth 10 Legendary Tier Mist Cores and a low-tier deity-level territory token. I don't have any that I can sell. The Mist Core is still alright. How can I obtain that epic tier, or even low-tier deity-level territory token with my current development stage? Zhou could not help but complain. I can offer you a loan. My lord, you can owe us the territory token first. You can take it back and repay the loan when you obtain the corresponding level of the territory token in the future. Zhou Qingmen smiled. There's interest, right? Zhou looked at him warily. That's natural. This shopping mall can't make a loss either. As for the interest, it's... Zhou Qingmen was about to speak when Zhou raised his hand to stop him. Don't say anything else. I won't take the loan. He said decisively without hesitation. Why? Zhou Qingmen was stunned. He had yet to say anything. I don't borrow anything. Zhou said firmly. It was not a good habit to like to borrow money, especially for people who were not rich to begin with. Fine. Zhou Qingmen could only stop mentioning this topic seeing how Zhou rejected him so many times in a row. Is there really no other way? Zhou could not help but ask. There is indeed an easy way. That is to exchange the territory token for the corresponding mist core. For example, a low-tier deity-level territory token can be exchanged for 10 legendary tier mist cores. An epic tier territory token can be exchanged for 1 epic tier mist core. A diamond tier territory token can also be exchanged for a diamond tier mist core. And so on and so forth. Zhou Qingmen said. That's a good idea. Zhou acknowledged. It was just a little wasteful of the mist core. He could not help but look at all the mist cores in his heavenly mist treasure bag. Then, he calculated how many he would have to turn them all into legendary tier mist cores. Soon, Zhou came to a conclusion. 27. After all the mist cores he had obtained during this period of time were converted into legendary tier mist cores, he could exchange them for a total of 27 legendary tier mist cores. There was still a little left, but he could not gather a legendary tier mist core. Zhou pursed his lips and suddenly felt a little unwilling. These were 27 legendary tier mist cores. If it was the black iron tier mist cores, it would be a total of 7 billion black iron tier mist cores. If this wealth was taken out, he could definitely be considered the richest person on the cerulean planet. However, Zhou thought for a moment, and finally decided to take them out to buy these 3 items with difficulty. The mist cores could not multiply even if he were to keep them. He had to spend what needed to be spent. I want the other 2 goods other than blazing explosion. Zhou gritted his teeth. Chapter 328 3 Goods, 2. Zhou did not lack offensive methods. He also had many growth-type attack skills. For example, the chaotic blade Qi. Therefore, there was no need to exchange for this blazing explosion. As for the other 2 goods, they had to be exchanged. The celestial appearance talent was the most expensive commodity. Even though Zhou did not know why its price was so high, his lord talent would definitely not cheat him. There must be a reason. On the other hand, the golden dragon bloodline could be absorbed to increase the level of his chaos human bloodline. This was naturally very important. After hearing Zhou's words, Zhou Qingmin could not help but look at his lord in surprise. He did not expect the other party to be able to take out so many mist cores at this stage. A smile appeared on his face. It seemed that following this lord would at least make him rich. The total price is 20 legendary tier mist cores and 11 epic tier mist cores, Zhou Qingmin said. Then, he handed the purple crystal of the golden dragon bloodline and talent, celestial appearance, to Zhou and placed the blazing explosion in the box before returning to the counter. When Zhou saw this scene, he communicated with the heavenly mist treasure bag and controlled it to begin synthesizing the mist cores. What will happen to these goods that I didn't buy? Will they be refreshed? They won't. These remaining goods will always be on my list of goods. You can buy them when the Lord wants to buy them, Zhou Qingmin said. Zhou was even happier. This was undoubtedly the best thing for him. Even if he encountered goods he wanted to buy, but could not in the future, there was no hurry. He would buy them when he saved up enough mist cores. Wait. At this thought, Zhou suddenly realized something. Lord Shop. A shopping mall. Generally speaking, it referred to a place that sold a large number of all kinds of goods. Could the name of this Lord Shop be hinting that there would be a large number of goods that he could not afford in the future? Thinking of this, Zhou hurriedly shook his head. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I, the Lord of the Blazing Sun, will never lack mist cores in my life. At this moment, the heavenly mist treasure bag shook slightly, indicating that he had condensed the mist core. Zhou took out 20 legendary tier mist cores and 11 epic tier mist cores and handed them to Zhou Qingmin. He looked at the heavenly mist treasure bag that had shrunk by 3/4, and his heart was trembling. However, he did not show any reaction on the surface. He only calmly put away the golden dragon bloodline and celestial appearance talent crystal and asked, "When will there be new goods tomorrow?" "It'll open for business on time every morning. That's about the time the sun rises. When the time comes, my lord, just come over." "Okay." Zhou nodded. He was about to leave when he thought of something and said to Zhou Qingmin, "Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Welcome to becoming my subject." He had to go through the fixed procedure. "My pleasure." Zhou Qingmin was stunned for a moment before nodding with a smile. Zhou nodded and turned to walk towards his Lord Manor. In the Lord Manor. In Zhou's room. In the living room. At this moment, Zhou was sitting on the sofa. He had already calmed down and was thinking about summarizing what had just happened. The goods that randomly appear in the Lord shop depends on what my subjects have. It seems that I have to invite more powerful or special talents to join my subjects in the future. This way, there will be a chance that the abilities they are most proud of will belong to me. When I gather the strongest abilities of all the subjects, then I'm probably the most perfect lord in the world. Thinking of this, Zhou finally realized what Zhou Qingmin meant by the strongest lord. This lord shop was indeed prepared to create the strongest lord. With this lord shop, not to mention the green phoenix immortal body and the gluttonous demon body, even if it was a mythical tier unique physique, he might be able to match or even surpass it after he grew up. Currently, the premise was that he could develop this lord shop to the greatest extent and let it grow into a true strongest lord. However, Even if it was not developed well, at the very least, he did not have to worry about being labeled as weak lord. Zhou stopped thinking about it. He took out the 2 boxes and took out the golden dragon bloodline and talent, celestial appearance crystal. He first picked up the golden dragon bloodline and took a look. Then, he was surprised to discover that there was no notification of bloodline optimization at the bottom of the golden dragon bloodline. Of course, this did not mean that the golden dragon bloodline was the strongest. After all, there were many higher-level bloodlines above the golden dragon bloodline. There were even stronger bloodlines like the divine dragon of destruction bloodline, extreme dragon race bloodline, yellow gold tier divine dragon bloodline, and the radiant divine dragon bloodline among the dragons. There was no optimization notification for the golden dragon bloodline, which meant that this bloodline had no obvious flaws and did not need to be optimized for other points. He stopped thinking and chose to absorb it, as the heart turned into a large amount of golden blood and surged into the surface of his body soon. A text notification appeared. You have absorbed 1 portion of the golden dragon bloodline, epic tier advanced grade. Your chaos human bloodline has unearthed more potential and advanced to yellow gold tier advanced grade. Your 6th senses ability has been strengthened. You have awakened the yellow gold tier advanced grade, chaos human race talent, dragon transformation. You have awakened the epic tier advanced grade golden dragon race talent, gold elemental control. You have awakened the epic tier advanced grade golden dragon race talent, dragon might. Your racial talent, dragon might, epic tier advanced grade, has mutated under the influence of the chaos human bloodline. It has mutated into chaos intimidation, epic tier advanced grade. You have awakened the epic tier advanced grade golden dragon race talent, dragon breath. Your racial talent, dragon breath, epic tier advanced grade, has mutated under the influence of the chaos human bloodline. It has mutated into chaos breath, epic tier advanced grade. You have grasped the inheritance of the dragon race's common sense. You have grasped the secret inheritance of the dragon race. You have mastered the epic tier advanced grade racial skill, dragon language proficiency. You have mastered the epic tier advanced grade racial skill, golden dragon armor. You have mastered the epic tier advanced grade racial skill, immortal golden dragon body. You have mastered the epic tier advanced grade racial skill, golden dragon slumber. You have mastered the epic tier advanced grade racial skill, legendary tier physical immunity, awakening rate 5%. A large number of memories and inheritances surged into his mind. Zhou could not help but close his eyes. After more than an hour, he opened his eyes. At this moment, his face was pale and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. His expression was weak. He did not look expectant at all. This dragon race has been passed down for hundreds of thousands of years. It's too much. I can't accept even common sense and secret dragon inheritances now. Fortunately, the remaining inheritance is now sealed in the depths of my memories. When my strength increases and my soul level increases in the future, I can accept the remaining inheritances again. Zhou thought. Then, he did not immediately look at the various abilities of the race that his bloodline had just awakened. Instead, he closed his eyes and rested on the bed for about half an hour. Then he got up and began to check those racial talents and racial skills. Chapter 329 Racial Talent. Racial Skill. Zhou first looked at the only awakened chaos human race talent, Dragon Transformation. Racial Talent Name, Dragon Transformation, Talent Level, Epic Tier Advanced Grade, Enhanceable, Talent Description. Your chaos human bloodline has absorbed the bloodline power of the dragon race. You can use this bloodline power to temporarily transform into a pure-blooded golden dragon with yellow gold tier elementary grade strength and possess all its bloodline abilities. Talent Hint 1. As your physical strength increases, the strength of the pure-blooded golden dragon you transform into will also increase. Talent Hint 2. You can absorb more pure-blooded dragon talents to increase the level and number of bloodlines and types of dragons transformed into. From there, you can trace back to the oldest bloodline power of the dragon race. Zhou was pleasantly surprised when he saw this skill. As the owner of 2 pure-blooded dragon pets, he naturally knew very well how powerful pure-blooded dragons were. The extreme dragon race could occupy a place even in front of the strongest races like the original spirit race and the chaos gods race. According to the common sense inheritance of the dragon race and the secret inheritance of the dragon race that he had just obtained, while the extreme dragon race was indeed a top-notch dragon bloodline among the various dragon bloodlines, it was far from it in terms of the top bloodline. Legend had it that the top ancient dragon bloodline could not even form a race because there were too few of them. There might only be a dozen of them in a generation, 2 or 3, or even 1. For example, the Time Divine Dragon, the Fate Divine Dragon, the Star-Devouring Demon Dragon, the World Dragon. There was also the Yellow Golden Holy Dragon that would only give birth to 1 in a generation, and was also known as the Dragon God Professions by the dragon race. These were the top ancient dragons of the dragon race, which meant, if he could continuously absorb dragon bloodlines in the future, not only could he increase the level of his chaos human bloodline, but he could also increase the realm of the dragon transformation and transform into an even more top-notch ancient dragon. Perhaps one day, even the Fate Divine Dragon, the Time Divine Dragon, the Star-Devouring Demon Dragon, the Yellow Gold Tier Divine Dragon, or other ancient dragons might be able to materialize. This dragon transformation race talent could be said to have huge potential. Still, he already had the will of the Dragon Slayer King, but now, he had gained the dragon transformation ability. Has the Dragon Slayer finally become an evil dragon? Zhou's expression was strange. He sensed the Dragon Slayer King's will in his mind, and realized that this will did not affect his Chaos Human bloodline. Well, his Chaos Human bloodline was only at the Yellow Gold Tier Advanced grade. It was far from reaching the level of a high-level bloodline race. Naturally, it could not trigger the will of the Dragon Slayer King. However, he did not know how the Dragon Slayer King's will would react when his Chaos Human bloodline advanced to the high-level bloodline level in the future. Zhou pondered. Then, he did not think of anything and stopped thinking about it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. There was no need to think about what would happen in the future. Let's deal with the matter at hand first. Thinking of this, Zhou looked at the race talents behind him. Race talent name, Gold Elemental Control. Talent level, Epic Tier Advanced grade. Enhanceable, talent description. The Chaos Human bloodline in your body controls the power of the Golden Dragon's bloodline. You are very sensitive to the metal elemental energy in the universe. Moreover, you are naturally good at controlling metal elemental energy and developing metal elemental related abilities. Race talent name, Chaos Intimidation. Talent level, Epic Tier Advanced grade. Enhanceable, talent description. The Chaos Human bloodline in your body makes you unafraid of any level of bloodline pressure. Moreover, when a life form releases hostile bloodline pressure to you, you can passively or take the initiative to release the Chaos Human bloodline pressure to intimidate the other party. Zhou nodded slightly when he saw the Chaos Intimidation. In the past, he had the Dragon Slayer King's will and relied on it to face the bloodline pressure of other high-level races. Now that he had this chaotic intimidation, he could allow the Dragon Slayer King's will to continue hiding and let the chaotic intimidation face the bloodline pressure of other high-level races. This could also reduce the possibility of the dragon slaying will being exposed. As for the dragon race's common sense inheritance, and the dragon race's secret inheritance, as the name suggested, it was the knowledge about the common sense and secrets of the dragon race, recorded in the Golden Dragon bloodline. Even though they were all things similar to encyclopedias and history books, that was still an encyclopedia, and history accumulated for hundreds of thousands of years. To a lord like Zhou, who had a relatively shallow foundation of the race, it was much better than giving him a pile of powerful combat skills. The simplest benefit was that, for example, if he encountered a race he did not know in the future, he would be able to recognize it without even flipping through the index of all races, as long as it was not too rare. If he encountered opportunities like natural treasures or treasures he did not know, he might be able to directly recognize their origins and easily obtain them. In addition, this inheritance could also allow Zhou to be more calm and confident when facing all living beings in the future. Then he looked at the racial skill behind him. Racial skill name: Draconic Mastery. Skill quality: Special. Racial skill description: You are naturally good at communicating, reading, and writing in Draconic. After learning Draconic magic, you can also use this to cast Draconic magic. Racial skill name: Golden Dragon Armor. Skill quality: Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Racial skill description: You can use the power of the Golden Dragon's bloodline to condense a golden dragon armor on the surface of your body to protect yourself and fight. Racial skill name: Undead Golden Dragon Body. Skill quality: Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Racial skill description: You have the power of the Golden Dragon bloodline. Even if your body is shattered, you can recover from your injuries by absorbing metal elemental energy or substances with metal elemental energy. You can even undergo blood rebirth. Prompt: The more complicated the shattering of the body, the longer the restoration will take. If you use the Undying Golden Dragon Body, which is almost equivalent to resurrection, it will greatly consume the bloodline foundation of the Golden Dragon bloodline, and you will fall into a long period of enfeeble. You need a large amount of replenishment of gold elemental energy, or substances with gold elemental energy, to gradually replenish it. Racial skill name: Golden Dragon Slumber. Skill quality: Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Racial skill description: You can use the power of the Golden Dragon's bloodline to sleep in the center of an underground metal mine for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, or even longer. During this slumber, your body will spontaneously absorb the surrounding energy to speed up the repair of your injuries and slowly increase your strength. Racial skill name: Legendary Tier Physical Immunity. Awakening level 5%. Skill quality: Legendary Tier Advanced Grade. Racial skill description: You have the bloodline power of the Golden Dragon. Your body is incomparably powerful from birth. Even without any defense cultivation, your physical strength can gradually obtain the Legendary Tier Physical Immunity ability as your strength increases. Zhou clicked his tongue. As expected of the bloodline of a pure-blooded dragon, even golden dragons that were not famous among the dragons, the series of racial talents and racial skills it awakened were also much stronger than the bloodline awakening abilities he had absorbed previously. Chapter 330: Celestial Appearance. Leah returns. Then, Zhou looked at the other purple jade. It was a jade stone that represented talent. Celestial Appearance. Activate. Zhou picked it up and muttered in his heart. The next second, the purple jade turned into wisps of hazy purple fog and fused into various parts of his body. Zhou felt his entire body heat up slightly. Then he felt nothing else. That's it? Zhou was stunned. He emptied more than half of his wallet and spent a total of 20 legendary tier mist cores in exchange for this change? He did not believe it, and took out a mirror from his spatial ring to look at himself. At first glance, he felt that it was nothing. He was still very handsome. He was already very handsome before he used the celestial appearance after all. Taking a closer look, he did seem to be a little better looking than before. This forehead, this brow, this chin. Originally, Zhou could not see any flaws in them. But now, it was as if the ratio, nuance, and matching of the various organs were more perfect. Zhou looked at his entire body again. He realized that he also had a warm, handsome, but unyielding and bold temperament, a little like Erling Godwin. Zhou was instantly satisfied. He did not care about the price of 20 legendary tier mist cores. Becoming stronger was only a matter of time after all, but being handsome or not was a matter of a lifetime. This money was worth it. Then he looked at his skill column. As expected, he saw the words talent, celestial appearance at the front of the skill column. Zhou opened it and thought that he would see the same talent information as before. He did not expect there to be a line of talent notifications. Talent hint. You will need to spend a long time to accept the adjustments made by your talent to your figure, appearance, and temperament to achieve the final celestial appearance. Current adjustment progress. 5%. Zhou eyebrows could not help but tremble. Only 5%? Wouldn't he be oh so handsome if it hit 100%? I didn't spend the mist cores in vain. Zhou closed the skill column and said calmly. However, the corners of his mouth that could not help but curl up revealed the joy in his heart. After a long time, he opened the marketplace and set up a transaction. He placed 500,000 skill books and 500,000 equipment inside. These equipment were obtained from destroying more than 310,000 fog monsters today. However, Zhou removed the white platinum tier and white platinum tier equipment inside, leaving only yellow gold tier and below. This equipment happened to be the equipment that the lords of the cerulean planet needed the most at this stage, so it was also the easiest to sell. He believed that it would not take long to sell them. Now that his wallet was mostly empty, he had to earn some back. Otherwise, he might not even be able to afford the goods from the Lord shop tomorrow. At this moment, Aaliyah's voice sounded outside the door. My lord, the princess of the Aurora Kingdom, Leah, and her maid, Yu Qiao, request an audience. Invite them in. Zhou reacted and immediately said, Leah had indeed returned. He had forgotten to ask if Leah had returned. Soon, Leah and Yu Qiao were brought in by Aaliyah. Zhou, I'm back. Leah smiled when she saw Zhou. Then, Yu Qiao and her were stunned at the same time. Leah subconsciously looked at Zhou for a few seconds before realizing what she was doing. She lowered her head with a red face, not daring to look into Zhou's eyes. Yu Qiao, who was beside him, blushed and wanted to bury her head in her clothes. I haven't seen you in a day. Zhou, why do you look better? Leah whispered. At this moment, Zhou's appearance was like seeing a prick, or even several pricks that poked at the man she yearned for the most in her heart. It tempted her. She was originally a person who was dedicated to her country and had no intention of getting involved in love. However, because of Zhou's 5% celestial appearance, she actually yearned for romance. Beside her, Yu Qiao also agreed with her princess, thoughts like a chick pecking at rice. There's an old saying in my hometown. It's called one's spirit is refreshed when there's a happy occasion. I might look better because I'm happy. Take a seat first. Zhou smiled. He did not mention the celestial appearance. However, he still felt that it was quite interesting looking at the other party's embarrassment. At the same time, he was even more amazed by the power of the celestial appearance. What a godly flirting skill. At this moment, Leah's expression gradually became more natural as a princess, and she was no longer as embarrassed as before. She sat down and chatted with Zhou for a while before telling him the good news she had brought. I brought the honorable subjects and the territory fusion certificates you need. She said. How many are there? Zhou immediately asked. Before that, I want to ask something. Leah said hesitantly. What is it? Just say it. Zhou looked at her in surprise. I remember you saying once that you have a way to obtain a large number of aurora crystals, right? Leah asked. Zhou quickly recalled. That seemed to be before the novice lord test. Leah's attitude towards him was not bad at that time, and was quite helpful. In order to return the favor, Zhou said something. He did not expect the other party to still remember. Right. Zhou nodded and admitted it. What is it? Can you tell me? This method is very important to our Aurora Kingdom. I can buy this method from you on behalf of the Aurora Kingdom, no matter the price. Leah said anxiously. Chapter 331 White Platinum Tier Blazing Sun Desert. Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Potential Advancement Potion. When Leah heard Zhou's words, her expression relaxed and she smiled again. Zhou also reacted at this moment. You came prepared. He smiled. Sorry, I had no choice. The power of the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Kingdom Tower is indeed astonishing. But there's only one. It can't play an obvious role in the entire battle in the end. But there aren't many Diamond Tier Aurora crystals in the country, so I thought of what you once said. Leah apologized. It's nothing. I've indeed said this before. I won't refuse to obtain aurora crystals for you. Then let's talk about the price. Zhou said. Okay. Leah nodded. This was not an obligation to begin with, so Leah did not feel that anything was wrong with Zhou negotiating the price. We will naturally provide the corpses of the honorable subjects. No matter how many aurora crystals you give us in the end, I'll give you all the 200 territory fusion certificates I brought. How about that? As for the 200 territory fusion certificates, among them are 80 black iron tier, 50 green bronze tier, 30 white silver tier, 20 yellow gold tier, 15 white platinum tier, and 5 diamond tier. It should be enough to satisfy your needs for the development of your territory in a short period of time. After Leah finished speaking, she looked at Zhou. Zhou clicked his tongue. What a huge sum. Ever since the Aurora Kingdom was established, there were only 300 to 400 territory fusion certificates left. He was actually given 200 territory fusion certificates. Moreover, there were 5 diamond tier territory fusion certificates. This was definitely the highest level territory fusion certificate in the Aurora Kingdom. There were a total of 220 territory fusion certificates, in addition to the previous 20. It was already half of the Aurora Kingdom's treasury. Giving him nearly half of the territory fusion certificate was almost equivalent to cutting off his kingdom's hope of advancing to an empire-level lord faction in the future. It seemed that the situation in the Aurora Kingdom was indeed not optimistic. Otherwise, he would not have made such a desperate move. Zhou thought to himself. This was also because he had a good relationship with Leah. Otherwise, if it was another lord faction, he might be able to take advantage of the situation, as long as he had some strength. However, he naturally would not do such a thing. Sure. Zhou agreed immediately. When Leah heard this, joy immediately appeared on her face. She immediately took out a large stack of territory fusion certificates from her spatial equipment and handed them all to Zhou. Zhou's sixth senses was extremely shocking. As soon as he took it, he knew that there were indeed 200 territory fusion certificates inside. He did not take a closer look. He still trusted Leah. Where are the honorable subjects' corpses now? Zhou asked. In a spatial ring in my residence. Put it at the territory warehouse. I'll get someone to take care of it. If nothing goes wrong, you'll be able to obtain the aurora crystals tomorrow. Zhou said. Leah's eyes lit up. She immediately asked Yu Qiao to go home and retrieve her things. Then she sent them to the warehouse immediately. After she left, Zhou pondered for a few seconds and said, Actually, I have something to discuss with you. What is it? Leah said in surprise. I've been attacking the southern territory of the Taiyan Kingdom in the past 2 days, which is Dark Night Town. As soon as Zhou finished speaking, Leah immediately opened her mouth slightly, her eyes filled with surprise. With the strength of the Taiyan Kingdom, won't you fall into great danger if it sends troops to attack your territory? In her eyes, even though Zhou's lord faction in Blazing Sun City was already developing very quickly, however, it should still be far from being able to go against a kingdom, right? That was a kingdom that had developed for hundreds of years after all. How could a lord faction that had developed for a little more than 10 days deal with it? Not really. My territory already has some strength. It shouldn't be a big problem to touch the Taiyan Kingdom. At the moment, I've already sent troops to capture and occupy Dark Night Town, Red Wasp Town, and 2 other green bronze tier regional territories to the south of the Taiyan Kingdom, a white silver tier regional territory, and a white platinum tier regional territory, East Demon City. Zhou smiled. Leah's eyes were blank. She definitely wouldn't believe it if someone else said that. She would even think that he was a braggart and unreliable person. From now on, she wouldn't even be close to him. However, the person who said this was the Lord of the Blazing Sun, Zhou. This made her hesitate. In her impression, her friend was extremely steady and never did anything that he was not confident in. Could it be that he was really confident in facing the anger of the Taiyan Kingdom? I have 2 armies under me now with more than 140,000 professionals in total. It's true. I have no reason to lie to you. Zhou looked at the hesitation in the other party's eyes and simply told him the truth. At this rate, he would have them after the monster ranch was cleaned up the next day. You already have so many professionals? This was also the first time Li knew of Zhou's military strength. She was immediately stunned. This number was already 1/8 of the total military strength of the Aurora Kingdom. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.